What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC television, and movie news right here on our YouTube page, also streaming live over on Facebook. Good afternoon, everybody. Behind the scenes, it's been rather hectic this morning, to say the least. I'm trying to get the internet up and running, trying to figure out how to do some new things here on StreamYard because, listen, guys, I know you guys are more than likely used to three of us being on screen, three handsome faces, I should certainly say. Well, today, guys, we're upping that ante here and bringing somebody else in with us today, most notably known over on our Facebook side of things. Today, we've got Reginald. What's up, Reggie? We got everybody here today. We got the whole entire crew certainly in the house, deciding to go ahead and bring in somebody else here with their particular points of views also. How you been, buddy? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you, man. I've been trying to get you to do something live on our Facebook page, trying to get you out here on YouTube for a minute. So I'm glad you decided to go ahead and join us, man. We know that you're definitely very passionate, definitely opinionated in regards to everything that we talk about, in regards to all of our fandoms. You know your shit, man. So we wanted to go ahead and bring you in and just have you bounce off of everybody while we wind up having 6 topics that we're going to be breaking down for you guys today. So we definitely are going to have a stacked show. If it feels a little bit weird in regards to camera angles and news articles coming up, again, we are doing things a little bit differently here because unfortunately, you know how it goes when it comes to my internet connections. Not the best, but we are certainly working on it. But what's up, everybody? How's everybody else doing this weekend, man?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good to see you, Stuart. Loving that flash hat as always, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Sorry with the lighting. It keeps like keying itself out with the yellow stuff. That's because I forgot to charge the batteries for both of my LED lights, and so I only have one of them on. That's why the lighting's a bit off.
Oh no, it looks good, man. You look good. What's up, Indy? You doing all right, man? How's your album doing? Hits? How's it going?
Hits is doing very well, especially the track that you were featured on.
Black Luxury
is doing very, very well. I just surprised everybody and gave them an Easter gift and dropped Journey 2 hits on all streaming platforms. That's the prequel that led up to everything that was going to be hits. And hard copies of both will come out for the price of one starting next week. So everything's looking up.
Nice, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you featuring me on your song. If anybody wants autographs later, just let me know. You know, no big deal. We'll take the show on the road. Indy, you know, just give me a mic. We'll be good, man. But no, man, excellent album so far, man. Really loving it, bro. So if you guys aren't checking out Indy Uchiha's album, please go ahead and do so. Put a link in the description box below also to this, Indy, if people want to go ahead and find you on SoundCloud, man. Let's see here. Well, guys, before we even get into our main topics, we usually have some honorable mentions that we like to kind of throw up there and certainly talk about before we even get into some of our main topics today. For a second there, when you pulled it up, I thought that said Adam Perez. I was like, that's not what's up, Adrian? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you in here as always. I'm handsome, dude. What's up? Thank you very much for certainly coming through this weekend. Shadow Nova Productions in the house as well. Man, I appreciate you guys coming in and joining us live. But let's go ahead and get into some of our honorable mentions. Let's go ahead and does everybody have one, or does some of you at least have one? Not everybody has to have one, but
I know I have Space Jam 2. I saw the trailer. It looks really good. Don Cheadle looks awesome, and the story is actually engaging, which I'm shocked about. I actually wasn't expecting much from it, but it actually looks very watchable.
I heard a joke on Twitter about this. I got to know what you guys think. So, in one of the many Easter eggs that you see in this trailer, you see him like assembling a team trying to find like the best throughout all of Warner Media, and one of those names on there is Gandalf. So someone on Twitter posted, "What if like he's about to shoot, but Gandalf like blocks it with his staff and goes, 'You shall not pass.'"
You know what's really fun? I want to say, you know, what's really fun about Space Jam 2 is that they're expanding the roster. It's not just Looney Tunes. It's a whole Warner Media, and I'm excited about that.
I did see somebody on Twitter the other day was like, yo, this whole GOAT conversation between MJ and LeBron's got to be, it's over. It's like, we got LeBron out here trying to get Superman and Gandalf and all these people to help him out. He said MJ just had Bill Murray in a couple tunes. You know what I'm saying? Like, the debate is over. But yeah, no, the trailer did look pretty cute. I'll have to go back and certainly check it out. They also went ahead and dropped a poster for it also. But I think the trailer's been doing really fantastic on YouTube. I think it's got a couple million views already, so it hasn't been too bad so far. What other honorable mentions you guys have?
Me, definitely anime head. So I definitely have to talk about Studio Mappa, who's been doing their dang thing as of late. Anybody who doesn't know who Studio Mappa is, they do Jujutsu Kaisen. They're doing the final season of Attack on Titan right now. They have an anime getting ready to drop April 29th called Yasuke. It's about a black samurai, created by LaShawn Thomas, the same guy who does Black Dynamite. The Boondocks is going to star the Keith Stanfield. Everybody knows him from Get Out, Atlanta, and Sorry to Bother You. It looks like it's going to be real sharp, and it's helping Netflix stick through and stay with, you know what I'm saying, stepping up in the anime game. Just recently dropped a trailer that focused on our legendary black samurai in a world that's set somewhere else. I mean, it looks crazy. I could have swore I saw like a mech. I have no idea what they're doing. It's got swords, magic, all type of things is happening. And I would tell people, anybody that's in the anime, to stay tuned and actually check that out, because Studio Mappa has been doing the best when it comes to anime right now.
Yeah, I saw the trailer too. It looks really good. And then there's a bonus bit about that, because Yusuke was a real guy, and this was a project similar to the project that Chadwick Boseman was working on. He's working on a live action feature about the same character. And to have Lakeith on there, it looks like it's going to be, you know, top notch.
I'll have to check it out, because I think I did see it on your page, Indy, the other day. I think maybe you have put up like a casting or who was going to be show running it. I can't remember, but I definitely will check out the trailer, because that does sound pretty fascinating to me, honestly.
What if you guys message me the link to the trailer, because I got to check that out too.
I got you.
Definitely go ahead and do that. Did you have an honorable mention also, Stuart?
Yeah, I did. Actually, sticking on the topic of anime, we finally got confirmation that Stone Ocean, which is the 6th arc in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's finally getting a anime adaptation. We just got confirmation about it last night.
Oh, very nice. I don't know if I've ever checked out that anime series. Is it pretty good? You recommend it?
Oh yeah, it is. It is great. It is my girlfriend's the one that got me into it, and you know, it's really weird, because the first 2 seasons are decently tame stories, but like told in just a overly anime fashion is like the best way to put it. But then like season 3, I think, is when the show gets really good, because that's when they decide, yeah, we're done trying to have our stories be grounded. We're just going to get really bizarre and really weird, and we're going to embrace the name Bizarre Adventure.
I like it, man. I like it. As far as for me, in regards to my honorable mention, 2 that I will go ahead and throw up real quick. One, because it was a topic that really almost made the cut here this week, but we didn't talk about it. You guys know the Powerpuff Girls have been, we got our main cast for our 3 so far. More casting information has been trickling out this week. Donald Faison, I believe, has been picked up to portray, was it Professor Utonium or something like that? How excited are you guys for Donald Faison to be a part of it?
Well, I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm just hoping that, you know, they actually are, you know, competent in their delivery.
That's it. Yeah, that's definitely something, a requirement for sure.
I think knowing him, even if the writers aren't going to be confident with their delivery, I feel like his performance is going to be confident no matter what. He can take material that may not be the best, and he can turn it into really good material. I got so excited when I saw that he was casted for the Professor.
Chloe Bennett was not going to be able to, her name alone wasn't going to be able to keep interest in the show. Now casting him, having those 2 names in the forefront of what's going on in this show, is going to be able to hold it over at least for a couple of weeks after its premiere. Then it's going to be up to the writers. I have no issue with the actors. I really feel like Donald Faison. I feel like he could play the role. He could play the role. I know Chloe Bennet. She's literally been playing Blossom her entire career in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it's going to be interesting on the twist that they put on it. I'm not too familiar with one of the other ladies, the one that's playing Buttercup, I think it is.
I think this is one of her first projects, I think, because I don't recall her at all.
Yeah, she's from Broadway, I believe.
Yeah, but I'm definitely all for Bubbles. That girl has been acting dang near her entire life, and every role she's been in, she's been good in. I'm also kind of interested in the casting for Mojo Jojo Jr. and the fact that they're going with the junior because time has passed. And Mojo Joe might not be around, because I was curious at how they were going to do that. Like, Mojo Jojo's going to be kind of old right now. So, like, how is he going to keep up? Them doing a junior is interesting to me, because I'm interested in if he's even going to be a real villain, or if it's one of them things where these are the girls that wronged my father. I would like it if they wrote it as he's a fan of them, but trying to live up to the legacy of his dad, so he has to be their enemies type deal. So
I do wonder if there's like any carried over animosity from him as their son too, you know?
Yeah, so like, you're the reason my dad couldn't be around, because he was always trying to get rid of you, so my dad wasn't at home because of you.
I'm really interested to see how they're going to present all the lore in live action, you know, because there's a monkey, there's 3 little girls.
Can we get some flashbacks in animation?
That would be dope, Adam. Yes. That would be dope.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things I actually liked from the Space Jam 2 trailer, was the fact that it was more animation and live action. You actually saw LeBron get animated. And
that's right.
So that makes me feel good. The fact that he doesn't have to act the entire time; he just voice acts. So I'm like, good. And then when we get back to the basketball, it's him doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? What he does best. So that would be cool if they could flip the two and do it like that. But I'm just intrigued to see what's going to happen.
I guess what I'm really concerned with is it going to be like Riverdale, or is it going to be like Smallville? Like what direction are they going with this?
Yeah, like how much drama kind of thing are they really going to do?
Could it be a combination of both?
It could be a combination of both.
Middle ground between the two, I'm okay with that. I just don't want it to be like overly dark and edgy just for the sake of being edgy, not having like a good story to go with it, you know.
No, I definitely agree. Yeah. And then one last honorable mention before we get into the main topics. Speaking of casting, Obi-Wan Kenobi has been in the news lately. Everything is certainly coming together when it comes to them putting together this upcoming Disney Plus series. Ewan McGregor definitely returning. Obviously, Hayden Christensen's going to be coming back as Vader himself. The two that jumped out to me, Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Pierce, most notably known as Owen Lars and his wife. And then we got a couple of other fantastic names that we've talked about over the past couple of weeks joining the crew also. Kumal, I can't even pronounce his name, guys, but he's going to be in here also. I didn't know he was going to be in here at all. I'm kind of curious as to what character he's going to be playing. Nanjiani, excuse me. What do you guys think about the casting announcements here?
I absolutely love it. And I'm hoping with Hayden Christensen coming back, I hope this confirms we get like flashbacks of the Clone Wars, but like, with the actual actors in it instead of it being an animation form, but still getting to see them in those really cool outfits that they wore in the Clone Wars that we never got to see them like wear in live action. That
would be pretty neat to kind of see them. Who else we got? O'Shea Jackson Jr. I'm not familiar with where he's been. Sung Kang.
Are you serious?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's Ice Cube's son.
Yes.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't even know that. That's badass.
Sung Kang.
I was expecting to say Ice Cube Jr. I'm sorry, I didn't know his real name.
No, O'Shea Jackson Jr.
That's cool.
Well, put it this way, I know he can act.
Yeah.
He's a better actor than his father. I know he can act.
Wasn't he straight out of Compton, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
From Fast and the Furious fame.
Man, the names are stellar, bro.
What's the 50 Cent friggin' TV show.
Power.
Yeah, Power. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be pretty interesting seeing him, especially with that last Fast and the Furious movie being pushed back a year that he was coming back to that franchise. So it's gonna be crazy to see him. I can't wait because I believe I really look at him as an amazing actor. To be totally honest with you, he can play roles. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what he's gonna be doing.
Yeah, man, I'm really fascinated. I'm really fascinated to see how this kind of all comes together. But filming for Obi-Wan will in fact be taking place this upcoming spring, so it'll definitely be in development before we know. We've been waiting forever for this, so for it to finally be happening, definitely makes me a happy camper, to certainly say the
You know
least.
what? I gotta note that the way Disney is reinventing streaming television is quite outstanding. The
Yeah,
way
no,
that because
definitely agree.
when I was a kid, when I got the TV version, it wasn't this good. You did not have the actors from the movie carry over into the TV show.
Mm-hmm. The closest thing you got was like Highlander would every once in a while feature the actor from the movie.
Yeah.
But even then, you know, you knew that something was off because the productions were totally different on the two. So
Very
it's
nice.
like here, it's like now with the television shows we get on Disney Plus, especially like man, with how amazing Falcon the Winter Soldier has been looking in its production, it looks straight up like you're at the theaters watching this like it's part of an actual Marvel movie. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, guys. Well, let's go ahead and start transitioning over to some of our main topics as we start really getting into the nitty gritty of everything, if you will. But before we do, just a little bit of thing of business so that we can try and keep our lights on around here, guys. We, in fact, do have ourselves a Patreon account. If you want to go ahead and actually support our channel in other ways, please check us out over at patreon.com/aplusopinions. You get not only early access, but you also get exclusive content as well. Not only for just the APlus Hero Report side, but if you're also a Power Ranger fan or Tokusatsu fan, you also get information and content over from APlus more phenomenal side. So 2 YouTube channels worth of content for you guys to certainly get on our Patreon account. But definitely go ahead and check it out. We've got $1 tiers, $1 tiers, $5 tiers, and $10 tiers, but we definitely offer a little bit of everything for somebody out there. So definitely go ahead and check it out whenever you certainly can. And if for some reason, if you can't help out monetarily in that particular way, another way to certainly go ahead and help out the channel, subscribe most definitely, and of course, hit that big thumbs up. That like button definitely does go a long way, ladies and gentlemen. But other than that, guys, are you guys ready to go ahead and get into some of our main topics for the day?
Let's go get it.
Always.
All right, awesome, guys, awesome. All right, so the first topic that we're going to get into here today comes to us kind of out of left field. I was not expecting this, but it definitely comes off of the heels of Godzilla versus Kong, which was a massive hit this past weekend for Warner Brothers, not just in the box office, but also for its streaming service as well. Well, the director for that particular film, Adam Wingard, has big plans, not necessarily for the Godzilla or Kong franchise, but another franchise that he's been quite passionate about, and that particular project is in fact going to be Thundercats. Thundercats! Oh, yo, I used to love Thundercats growing up as a kid. I absolutely loved it. So the fact that we're actually getting ourselves a Thundercats movie, count me in, guys. Let's go ahead and break this down here. This is from Deadline.com. Godzilla vs. Kong director Adam Wingard to helm Thundercats movie for Warner Brothers as an exclusive, as his new film Godzilla and Kong opens Wednesday in the USA and on HBO Max. Turning up a Hollywood film pandemic record of $123 million grossing within 38 overseas markets over the weekend. He is now set to go ahead and direct Thundercats. That is a big scale feature based on an animated TV series that ran from 1985 and 89. And tons of comics and merchandise winds up coming out of it. It does say that the project had been developed. It looks like by the producers from the previous Wingard directed Death Note on Nickelodeon on Netflix, with an early script by David Cogshaw. It does say that Wingard will rewrite a script with Simon Barrett and will turn all this into a hybrid of CGI and animation. The series focused on a group of cat-like humanoid aliens who lived on the dying planet Thundera. The Thundercats are forced to flee their homeland. So it says the film will use the animated series as a jumping off point, but then Wingard will take it in a direction he has been thinking about for many years. And they did also have a fantastic interview with Adam Wingard also, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But guys, let me go ahead and pass this on to you. If anything, let's go ahead with the newcomer here and Reggie joining us, man. You hear this, Adam Wingard, most notably from his time over with Death Note, directing that film, now directing Godzilla versus Kong. He's going to be tackling this CGI sort of animation hybrid Thundercats film. When you hear this initially, what are some of your thoughts, Reggie? Did I lose you, Reggie? You there?
My mic.
Oh, sorry.
I hope it's not like Cats. And you know, it helps that he looks like a Thundercat. But really, I hope that is well done, because what happens with a lot of these tentpole movies based on old TV shows, they gut the heart out of it and they make it into something that it's not, and then fans revolt and we start crying for the Snyder Cut. That's what happens. So I think it's gonna be good. Honestly, I think it's gonna be fun. I just hope that they handle the casting right, that his direction is good and complementary to the material, and that he's not in conflict with the material where he's like, oh no, we definitely need more robots and guns here. You know, I want to see the story.
Yeah, no, and I definitely agree with you there, because he has actually come out and talked a little bit about the idea of what he wants to do with the project. I did send you guys an article, the interview that he actually wound up doing. I'm not sure if you guys had the opportunity to read it, but I do want to go ahead and highlight some things. Maybe if anything, it'll kind of give us a little bit of better understanding as to what we can expect from his vision, or just the idea of what he's going to be tackling, because Deadline did get an opportunity to actually sit down with Adam Wingard and talk with him about Thundercats specifically. He says, so let's get right into the story we just broke, that you are going to be going to make a big theatrical version of the Thundercats. What can you tell us? So this is Adam Wingard talking. He says Thundercats is a dream project for him, which, if you ask me, guys, I think is always a great sign when you've got a director that's tackling a passion project of their own. He says, when I was in high school, I was obsessed with it. You think at that point, I was a little too old, that my years of obsession with Thundercats would be when I was 6 years old. My real obsession with Thundercats came in high school, the pinnacle of me deciding I wanted to be a filmmaker and pushing in that direction. I actually spent most of my 10th grade year. I completely blew it. I didn't pay attention in school, made terrible grades. And the reason? I was writing my Thundercats screenplay through my entire 10th grade year, and I was handwriting it. The screenplay itself ended up being 272 pages long, and I still have it. It was one of those things where I would carry around my notebooks and talk about it. I didn't even realize the kids in my class were making fun of me as they would ask me questions about my Thundercats screenplay. It was only one day my friend asked me, and I was excitedly telling him all these things about my Thundercats screenplay. And I heard him turn around to some girls in that class. These were girls I had crushes on, and he's making fun of me for writing Thundercats. He says, because it was ridiculous. He says, but that was the first moment where I had thought that maybe I would not only be able to make the Thundercats movie. He says, I thought, am I crazy for obsessing over this, thinking it's something you can't just do? As it turns out, when you're a kid in Alabama with no resources or connections to filmmaking, it is impossible to make a Thundercats movie. But flash forward 20 years later, and here we are. So he says, I'm in a place where Godzilla versus Kong has gone well in Warner Brothers. They love the movie. And as we're wrapping it, I heard that there was a Thundercats script out there, and it happened to set up some of my producers on Death Note. I asked them that I wanted to rewrite the script with my friend Simon Barrett. This is a huge passion thing for me. Nobody on this planet knows or has thought as much about Thundercats as I have. They gave me the reins. I saw this as an opportunity to do a new type of fantasy sci-fi spectacle film that people have never seen before. It's just a rich mythology. The characters are fantastic. The colors. I want to do a Thundercats film that takes you back to the 80s aesthetic. I don't want to reinvent the way that they look. I want them to look like Thundercats. I don't want to do it in live action either. Here you go, Reggie. Here you go. I don't want it to look like cats. He says, I don't want those kind of issues. No disrespect to that director, whom I don't mean to throw under the bus any more than everyone else has. I want to do a movie you've never seen before, a hybrid CGI film that has a hyper real look and somehow bridges the gap between cartoon and CGI. That's the starting point. And Simon Barrett and I are getting into the script now. So, Reggie, does that give you any more security in regards to him?
It does, because he has an idea what he wants.
Yeah.
And he sounds serious about it. In the Power Ranger community, there's a lot of discussion on Dean Israelite's take on the 2017 Power Ranger movie, because they say the movie was good, but the superhero parts seem to be tacked on in some areas, and I don't want to see that like ever again in any other franchise. I want stuff to be integrated within the story, and I don't want to be pulled out of the movie because something fantastic comes on screen. This week I made the mistake of watching A Wrinkle in Time, and that movie was hard to watch, especially with the 200-foot Oprah Winfrey. That was a little odd.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but the problem with the movie was they didn't always integrate the fantastic elements into the story, so you didn't know what's going on half the time. And then when they presented what was going on, you're kind of like, is that it? So what this director, Adam Wingard, is talking about sounds good, because it sounds like he wants to actually breathe life into the old cartoon and bring it into live action. That's what you want to hear from these directors. You don't want to hear, oh, we're going to take a completely different take from what people know into something they don't want to see. So we'll have Lionel with 3 arms. We'll have Chitara be she'll have an afro on one side, and she'll have like straight blonde hair on the other side. We'll have Tigra. He's also going to be called.
He's not going to be a Tigra this time.
Yeah,
he's going to be a different animal. At all. Yeah, he's not going to.
He's gonna be half cockroach in this movie. Yeah, we're gonna do that, and what we'll not do, we're not gonna actually present this movie where adults not gonna want to kill themselves afterwards. So that's if you manage to keep the spirit. I always say, if you keep the spirit of the thing you're coming from, you'll always be successful. Because even though Star Trek is a different take on Star Trek every time you see it, it still has the spirit of Gene Roddenberry's stories.
No, I definitely get you there for sure. And I think a great comparison in regards to Dean Israelite when it comes to the Power Ranger movie also. But let me pass this over to you, Stuart, here. You hear some of the things that Adam Wingard is certainly talking about. You know, we just came fresh off of Godzilla versus Kong. After watching that particular movie, what is your thoughts in regards to him picking up this mantle here for a Thundercats film? What do you think, sir?
You know, it's funny. As you were reading the article, my excitement went from here to here, and then back up after reading like the full description of what he had to say about it, because I've been looking forward to a Thundercats movie since 2008 is when this fake trailer came out, but 2008 announced it, and there was this really well done fake trailer that I linked to you guys on Facebook.
Is that the one with Brad Pitt?
Had a chance to watch it, but keep in mind, I think I was like in middle school at the time when that trailer came out, so I actually thought it was real. So I was super hyped to watch it like at that point. But then, of course, it was one of those mini scripts, and I think Dragon Ball Evolution was one of the reasons they never actually went through with this movie, and the writer's strike might have had something to do with it as well. But essentially, it was just one of those movies that was announced for a while, and then they never went through on it, unfortunately. So now that it's finally coming back and we got this director behind it, my first thoughts were before you started reading the article, okay, this is the guy that did Godzilla versus Kong and You're Next. Both of those are really fun movies. And, so even if the movie's not the best written, I know that I'm at least going to have a good time watching this. And then you reminded me that he did Death Note. And I'm like, oh, now my excitement has gone really downhill here. But I don't know. Even though I did not like the Death Note movie at all, I thought it was like absolute garbage. When you read like the last thing that he said about his excitement for the Thundercats movie, it really took me back to high school, because I used to do the same thing, not with Thundercats specifically, more with Justice League and with Godzilla. Like I literally, as a high schooler, would write my own like screenplays for both Godzilla and Justice League. They were terrible, but I had a lot of passion behind them. So it's really cool, like seeing that this guy, had that kind of the passion that I had for those two properties. He seems to have for Thundercats. So I do think that regardless of how good or bad this movie is, it's really awesome to know that it's going to be written and directed by someone who does actually care for the property, and it's not going to be another Michael Bay project.
Oh, that's a good point there. I will say, I unfortunately didn't watch Death Note, but I definitely did hear some things in regards to it. So I'm kind of curious if it's, when it comes to Death Note, if the issues are directing, if the issues are the screenplay, or if the issues are kind of a mixture of both in regards to that one.
A little bit of both.
All of the above.
All the above. Okay.
The writing wasn't the best, and the directing didn't help because I don't think the guy that played Light was a bad actor. I just think he was given terrible direction in the movie. So a lot of times we're supposed to be taking him seriously, but we get the bad type of laughs from his performance in it. Not the kind where it's meant to be funny, but the kind where he's trying to play it straight, and you can't help but laugh at how like goofy he plays it.
Let me pass this over to you, Indy. Just hearing some of the words that Adam Wingard was certainly talking about in regards to his passion, the idea of what what he's been planning. A CGI sort of hybrid between that and animation. You also just watched Godzilla versus Kong. After watching that film and some of the other things that he's done, what are your thoughts in regards to Adam Wingard taking over a Thundercats film? You think he's a good fit or what?
Don't do Masters of the Universe, and don't do Transformers, and we should be good. If you stay to the lore, even if you don't want to stay to the lore that we grew up on in, late 70s, early 80s, if you want to base it on the comic book lore and the 2011 reboot, I'm good with that. If you want to go with a younger line on and do all that stuff, I'm cool. Just make sure that you don't have to be true to the lore. Be true to the characters. Because that's something that was dope about the 2011 reboot. Though they changed the story, they changed the origin a little. They didn't change the characters themselves, how they respond to stuff, how they would act. You'll be good then. And don't cast Vin Diesel as anything, and I'll be 110% okay with
you. Don't want him as Panthro?
No, I do not.
Yo, I cannot wait to see who they get for some of the voice casting, or maybe some of the just the cast in general. I mean, I have no idea how they're going to pull this off. Like when he says hybrid CGI and animation, I go immediately to like Avatar. I am wondering if that's going to be the type of graphics that we're going to get here. One of the things that I will say that really stood out to me, because I had the opportunity to watch Godzilla versus Kong as of yesterday. One of the things that really stood out to me when I watched that movie, while I'm not familiar with his other past work, I will say this: I really loved all the Kong stuff that we wind up getting on the Hollow Earth. I thought it was really great, just visually, to be able to sort of create just sort of a brand new world, if you will. Like when I heard that he was going to be doing Thundercats, and I go back and I watched Godzilla versus Kong, I'm like, hell, that could be Thundera. You know what I'm saying? Like the Hollow Earth could be Thundera for all we know. Like just the scope of imagination that it takes visually to kind of see this whole new world that you've never been experienced to, right? All these brand new creatures. He seems to do really great work in regards to directing when it comes to these big fights and these big animals and these monsters and things like that. So I can easily see sort of that sci-fi fantasy element from Thundercats kind of carrying on really well from his type of style that he presented just from Godzilla versus Kong. I mean, again, just the monsters, the visual effects that we wind up getting, the color schemes and things like that. I mean, even just seeing the development of that HEAV, whatever that aircraft that they wind up creating to go into Hollow Earth, that seemed pretty crazy to me. Also, like just color wise, technology wise, there's a little perfect element of everything that I feel like Wingard really tackled in Godzilla versus Kong. That when I think of Thundercats, I'm thinking I can see somebody, I can see him directing something in this type of world, if you will. So again, we don't have a script yet. We don't know exactly who's going to be writing it. I mean, well, he is going to be writing it. Him and Simon, his buddy Simon Barrett, I believe he said, is going to be teaming up to go ahead and rewrite the script that they certainly have. So while I wasn't I hear a lot of people weren't necessarily the biggest fan of Death Note. I'm kind of hoping that because of the fact that this is a passion project for him, that we will get a much better material when it comes to characters. Visually, I think he can certainly knock it out of the park. My focus would definitely be, can you make the characters important, right? Can you make me feel attached to these characters and really make them feel like they're living in this world that you've kind of created? So I do think that this is probably right up his alley. Again, that's just from me watching Godzilla versus Kong. But we'll see. We'll see how the execution of it all comes together, not just the directing, but definitely the writing aspect also. What did you guys think in regards to it? Like when you think of Godzilla versus Kong and Hollow Earth, are you able to kind of connect what I'm talking about?
Well, I've yet to see Godzilla versus Kong yet, but it's getting a lot of good buzz, and I'm looking forward to it. But I wanted to say that in regards to directors, when they have a passion, it'll either turn out to be Lord of the Rings or The Last Airbender. Those are two examples of two very passionate directors, and we will wait to see which one this becomes.
Mm-hmm. Really hoping not The Last Airbender. But yeah, no, I agree with both of you guys. Like, yeah, if it's a passion project and if he has, I think, yeah, he needs to have people that'll tell him when, okay, this may look good in animation, but it's not going to work in live action as well. So hopefully he's, open-minded enough to like listen to some feedback from other people as well. But yeah, I do think the passion behind it means that at least we're going to get a movie that someone's actually trying to make something really good out of. So I'm pretty much looking forward to it regardless. And then, yeah, Adam, you bring up a really good point is that, yeah, the scenes of Hollow Earth with Kong in it, they did look pretty fantastic, like in terms of just like this other world that, you're exploring and you're seeing it through the eyes of like a non-human character. Yeah, I do think that he was able, that was probably one of the most interesting looking moments of the entire film.
I agree.
So I do think that he can handle that fantasy element, making it look like it's not from this world type of a thing. I think he can handle that really well. So I hope the studio gives him the budget that he needs to make it look good. And again, I know he himself has already said this, don't make it like Cats.
Yeah, definitely don't make it like Cats. But yeah, no, I think visually he could, like, one of the shots of like Kong just walking into that like temple or the room, and he's going down the steps and things like that, right? Like you just see visually this whole world that he's kind of created. I thought it was like, I agree with you there. It, like, for me, it was definitely one of the more interesting aspects of the film because I was not expecting that, nor was I expecting it to look as good as it certainly did. So if that's the type of vision that Adam Wingard's going to be bringing to Thundercats, I'm definitely on board. But again, that's one half of making a great movie. The second half is going to be that script. So we'll definitely see. Any last words, Indy, you have in regards to Thundercats? I think you're muted.
Don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up. Yeah, that's a perfect segue. Perfect way to wrap it up. Yeah, don't mess it up, Adam. All right, guys. Other than that, listen, we want to know your thoughts. What do you guys think about Adam Wingard directing Thundercats? You hear the idea of a hybrid CGI and animation. Would you guys prefer live action? Or are you okay with the idea of them tackling it in this type of form?
It would be really hard to do this live action. it would require really expensive prosthetics to actually like have people constantly like in a really good looking costume. So I think animation might be the like cheaper route, and if they do that, then they can use the budget for like more expensive things. So I think they should probably go with motion capture.
Do you want the Super Mario Brothers movie, or do you want Detective Pikachu? I mean,
Detective Pikachu actually looked pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, there's different levels to how you could do things, and with the technology now, they should be able to pull it off. It just depends on the vision of the person that's doing the project, and if he understands how things can actually, you know what I'm saying, look, because they made Kong. I mean, he made Godzilla expressive without Godzilla emoting at all. All you had to do is just look in his eyes. That's not something that's easy to do. You know what I'm saying? To make you feel like these things actually have, you know what I'm saying, emotions without showing the emotions. And these are characters with these Thundercats that are going to have to emote. They're going to have to show emotions, struggle, pain. So you're going to need the mocap. But I'm scared about how it's going to look. I really am.
Well, Andy, I'm glad you mentioned Super Mario Brothers, because there's another movie kind of like that is kind of like Thundercats, that was from yesteryear and was terrible. It might be worse than Super Mario Brothers. The movie was called The Warriors of Virtue, and that was Andy's having a moment, but that movie was terrible. And if this movie is not done right, it's going to remind me of Warriors of Virtue. I rate that movie as like the worst movie I ever watched, hands down, because it was so bad. The script was bad, the prosthetics were bad, everything was bad, and I kind of wanted to see it because I like Ninja Turtles, and obviously they were trying to buy into that and the Power Rangers movies. But if this movie looks anything like that or Super Mario Brothers, people will turn it off. They're not going to go see it. After the pandemic, we want to go to a good movie. How about that?
I will say this. I do hope that he reaches out to like James Cameron or Lucasfilm or somebody like that, because it seems as though he definitely has really ambitious ideas for what he wants this to be like. Like I'm hoping that this is sort of a stepping stone for technology, if you will, in regards to pushing the envelope a little bit more.
Yeah.
He talks about the idea of it being unlike anything that we've ever seen. So I am kind of hoping that whatever type of mixture of technology he uses, that it is sort of taking that next leap forward, if you will, when it comes to cinematic special effects. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I definitely am worried in regards to it, but I definitely do think if he reaches out to the right people, he could maybe put something together really spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
But guys, listen, again, we definitely want to go ahead and know your thoughts. These are just our A+ opinions. At the end of the day, we want to go ahead and know yours. So let us know your thoughts in regards to this Thundercats movie in the live chat or the comment section box below after this particular video airs. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here for you guys today. We're actually going to go ahead and tackle another article here from Deadline. This one in regards to a director that I'm actually a rather big fan of, but probably hasn't had the best luck over the past couple of years here, especially since his previous endeavor in regards to Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Mr. Rian Johnson himself is certainly back in the news here. One of my favorite filmmakers. He recently just had a film in the name of Knives Out do fantastically well. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, got nominated for an Oscar recently. So Rian Johnson, despite the backlash from The Last Jedi, got back on his horse and did what he loves to do, and that is, in fact, filmmaking, and certainly was rewarded with an Oscar-nominated film in Knives Out. Well, a sequel is certainly headed our way, to certainly say the least, and a lot of people are trying to get their hands on that Knives Out sequel, and it seems as though somebody has already bid and won for the rights to Knives Out going forward. So let's go ahead and highlight this story here, guys. This is another one from deadline.com. It says Netflix near $400 million deal for Knives Out's 2 and 3. Daniel Craig and director Ryan Johnson are in fact set to go ahead and reprise their roles. So it says exclusive, Netflix is closing on a deal to make 2 sequels to the 2019 hit Who Done It, Knives Out, which Ryan Johnson will direct, and Daniel Craig reprising his role as super sleuth Benoit Blanc. Johnson, who wrote the original, has written the sequels and is producing with partner Ram Bergman. Sources said the deal will be worth north of $400 million, making it one of the biggest streamer movie deals in history. It does say a sequel was expected, but the recent discrete auction that went on between 3 streamers, so we had Apple and Amazon, who were also fighting for this, was a surprise. How was it possible? The original was acquired in a single pitch deal, which distributed the film through Lionsgate. That film only cost $40 million and turned in a global gross of north of $311 million. So, yeah, guys, Netflix is putting out the money in order to go ahead and get this. And it says the first picture in the sequel will begin shooting June 28th. In Greece, and the casting will in fact be done immediately as well. So Ryan Johnson has in fact just made a killing from Netflix here in this huge deal. Listen, I love the first Knives Out. For me, it was one that I definitely really enjoyed. I've watched it several times, even though I already know who did it. For me, it's just that great of a film, honestly. And I'm a sucker for Who Did It. You know, the old school Agatha Christie stuff, Murder on the Orient Express that came out a couple of years ago. I was a big fan of that as well. But Ryan Johnson just has that type of mind. He not only pushes the envelope, but he's so intelligent. The idea of I always feel like the ideas of whodunit mysteries probably are maybe not the easiest to have to certainly create with all the twists and turns and things like that. But just seeing the mind of Ryan Johnson kind of go to work and put together something with an amazing ensemble cast, mind you, in the first Knives Out, to have it kind of all come together and be as stellar of a movie as it was, really gets me excited for the idea of some upcoming sequels in here. But, you know, Netflix spending $400 million, guys, I think is just a showcase as to where we're at when it comes to the streaming wars, right? Like everybody is looking for content. And if you're not HBO, if you're not Disney, who is out there creating their own movies to put on their own services without having to, you know, pay for licensing and things like that, Netflix certainly has to kind of come through in their own way in order to continue to stay relevant, if you will. And they continue, you know, Netflix is not shy when it comes to opening up the bank and dropping it in front of filmmakers to create content for them. And Netflix is certainly doing that here in regards to Ryan Johnson. So they definitely win the war for Knives Out 2 and 3. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what the sequel winds up holding for us, guys. But let me go ahead and throw this over to you first, Indy. I definitely want to give your thoughts. What did you think about the first Knives Out movie? And what do you think about the idea of Netflix shelling over $400 million for that particular franchise?
I think Netflix understands a viable property when they see one. So it's going to be very interesting to see what these 2 supposed sequels are going to be, if they get them out and what they do. And just to see what happens, because Netflix is becoming they have to make moves, especially with the competition that they have in the reins of what's going on. I mean, with finding out that Black Widow is going to drop on Disney Plus, with all the movies you got dropping at least within the next couple of months on HBO Max, we don't know if that's going to be considered the norm. We just know that's what they're doing right now. I haven't been caught turning on my Netflix, you know, as much as I thought I would be. I mean, I went and I checked out the one anime with the big robots, and I was underwhelmed about, you know what I'm saying, how well it's been. They haven't really had any huge blockbusters as of late. I mean, what happened to the Bright, you know what I'm saying,
oh yeah,
movie series and world that they were supposed to be creating, that everybody was excited for. So it's more of, I'm going to believe it when I see it. But if they're going to go after anything, this is good. They're building up their anime. They're buying content now instead of, you know what I'm saying, trying to create all this original content. So they're making moves. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. 400 million is a lot. It is an awful lot, especially to me, for Ryan Johnson led epidemic. But we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, I think if anything, I feel like when it comes to Netflix, they definitely do tend to either overpay. I mean, the fact alone that that first movie almost made $400 million in its sleep. I think I got to I guess I got to think Ryan Johnson's a happy camper to like not even have to worry about box office at this point, right? Like he literally just made $400 million in his sleep, and now it's like, okay, let's just create this movie now. I mean, just has all that extra change in his pocket. I am kind of curious if this will eventually go to movie theaters, or if this is just going to be an exclusive only to Netflix. You know what I mean? So I am fascinated by that. Let me throw this over to you. Excuse me, Stuart. What are your thoughts in regards to Netflix shelling over this type of money for two Ryan Johnson films?
So I absolutely loved the first Knives Out movie. Mostly because it's really hard nowadays to have a mystery detective movie with a whodunit story without it like being like something you can see coming, without it being something that like hasn't already
And
been done.
original.
Because original. That's like the key thing, because it's like that South Park episode, Simpsons did it. Almost every like twist and turn you can possibly take with these type of mystery movies has been done. And I feel like Knives Out was one of those gems where it's like Ryan Johnson found a really creative twist and turn that he could take with it that would be give you something very familiar to all these other detective novels, but with like enough of a twist so you wouldn't necessarily see the ending coming your first time watching it. Unless you're my mom, but that's because she watches way more mystery, or she's read so many mystery novels, it's insane. Like I swear she'd be an amazing detective if that was like her career path. But anyways, yeah. So with him now essentially making two more movies for Netflix, my worry kind of comes into, can he continue with that momentum of giving us a very original twist with this familiar concept, and also with the big giant bid of $400 million, does that mean Netflix is going to be throwing more money at these movies? And if so, that might not be a good thing, because then if they throw in, like, let's say this movie, this next upcoming movie has like a budget of $100 million, I don't really think detective or mystery movies need to have a big budget. If anything, it kind of takes you out of, the grounded feeling that you get from watching the first Knives Out movie. So, I have like these worries, but I'm not, obviously we don't know what kind of direction they're going in. Ryan Johnson could totally surprise us with the next two movies, but I'm happy that they're coming out, but I'm just going to try not to have high expectations for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. I mean, and I definitely feel like when it comes to Ryan Johnson, I do feel like he's a smart filmmaker in regards to maybe knowing what his budgets certainly tend to be like. And I think after the success of the first one, like I can see him maybe putting a little bit more towards the budget, but the idea of a whodunit movie costing $100 million, it just seems out of the realm of ridiculous. Like, no, that those type of movies definitely don't need to be costing that much. Maybe 50 million, 55 million or something like that. Maybe you can get away with it for sure. But I am curious what you said, Stuart, the idea of, will they have to pay more? Because I'm wondering if this $400 million deal was just for the rights alone to be able to have it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily know if that's fully like for the full development of the movie itself or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. That's why I was careful not to say that that means it's going to the movie. I'm not sure if that was just for the rights, or if it's actually good. They're going to be trying to match it with the budget. Personally, I'm hoping not. I'm hoping this movie, if it is a bigger budget than the first movie, I'm hoping it's not by like that much. Like maybe give them $10 million more so we can hire like an even more like A-list cast or something like that. I'm just hoping it's not. Let's turn this franchise into an action series. I'm hoping they don't Fast and Furious it.
No, I know. I definitely get you in that regards. And what's fascinating to me too is the fact that one of the things that I love about the first Knives Out was what I feel like when it comes to most whodunits, you don't really get the reveal until the very end, and then they kind of explain everything to you. Whereas Knives Out, you kind of get like the premise of how everything, or like, not necessarily who did it, but one of the big, I think, question marks about how this person died, I think gets answered relatively early in it, right? But then you really have to start kind of going down that path of explaining and really who's the culprit behind the other sort of main storyline. I just really loved how Rian Johnson kind of told the story, not in your traditional sort of whodunit way, revealing it to us, but then showcasing all the crazy twists and turns that kind of added to that moment, which I thought was really great in how he handled it. But let me throw this over to you also, Reggie. What were your thoughts on the original Knives Out? And how do you feel about the idea of Netflix paying $400 million for the sequel?
First of all, congratulations to Daniel Craig for transitioning from James Bond to another character in an entirely new franchise, and being successful at it, because not everyone can do it. Michael Jordan didn't transition well into baseball. This is a great movie series. I'm glad it's a series because I love the first movie. I love the way they layered everything like an onion, and they peeled back layers and peeled back layers. It reminded me of like the old PBS British Inspector Clouseau and all those other shows from back in the day, which didn't cost this much money. I'm kind of wondering, are we going to see maybe a cameo of Godzilla in this?
400 million. Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't expect this to be the entire budget for the films. Like, I honestly could see probably Rian Johnson, probably with two of them combined, maybe dropping 100 million on both of them together, and then maybe just pocketing the rest. Like, look at all this additional change we've got.
Yes, but I still don't understand why you need that much money for this, because the last Knives Out, it didn't look very expensive, but the story wasn't requiring that. This isn't like Justice League or the Avengers. You don't need, I mean, like I'm saying, Godzilla or King Kong doing a cameo, that'll make sense for that much money. But otherwise, I'm wondering where the money is going.
Oh, no, this is going into...
the 400 million didn't go to the movie per se. It went to the
just to get it.
Yeah, it was to get the rights from it from Lionsgate. So that 400 million is in the pocket of Lionsgate, not in the pocket of Netflix or Rian Johnson.
Okay. So just to buy out the contract.
Yeah. The concern I brought up with it is that a lot of times, when it comes to making a film, like and you have like a specific budget or you have a specific advertising budget, oftentimes the budget to making a film and the budget for advertising that film usually matches. So I wasn't sure if that same logic applied when it came to buying the rights to a film, if that tends to match the budget.
I remember like one of the worst budget cases in movies was the original American Godzilla movie. And they blew out their budget for production, and they blew out their budget for
with Matthew Broderick.
Yes, that was like a budgeting nightmare for production and promotion. They lost a lot of money.
Really? Because I remember that Puff Daddy soundtrack for Godzilla, and that shit had me.
I'm glad you
purchased it.
So I was really young when that movie came out. And yet I can still remember how like advertisements for it were everywhere. Like, especially when you went to Taco Bell, like it was all over. Like they had it like in the background of their menu, and then every cup that you would get with whatever you had always had a Godzilla like painting on it. You had like a giant thing on every bus, like that would say like his foot is bigger than this bus.
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I thought the marketing was great.
Had animated series as well.
Yeah.
I thought the marketing for that movie was great, but we'll see what happens here. Netflix definitely is not shy at all when it comes to dropping a ton of money for things that they certainly want. And when we are in the time and age where we have now the streaming wars certainly going on, people are willing to pay more than they probably should in order to have that content, right? Because at the end of the day, you're just hoping for brand new subscribers and pulling in new eyes. And so if you've got fresh new content that people love and enjoy, maybe opening up that piggy bank a little bit more than normal.
I'm starting to miss cable.
What'd you say?
I'm starting to miss cable.
At this rate, right? We'll see. I think they were having some reports like how many streaming services does the average person like need or want? And I think they were saying like maybe at this point 5 is like the max, or maybe it's about to be like 5, right? I think you've got like your Disney, your HBO, your Hulu, Amazon, and your Netflix. Like I think you're trying. It's really like a main 5 that's out there right now that,
Yeah,
that
because
people are
they have
trying to get
those
into.
secondary ones that no one talks about, like Epics and IMDb
Oh yeah.
has their own streaming service and stuff like that. You know, no one really talks about that. We're hearing name brand stuff. It's all about branding.
Yeah, it's all about branding right now. And so
it's kind of all the reason I actually kind of like with streaming services, and the reason I'd say it's actually if you're smart about it, it's cheaper than cable if you have a lot of them, is you just got to make sure you have your own group of people to share your accounts with. Honestly, like get a group of 5 or 6 people, each one of you guys pays for one account. And I know they usually prepare for this by having it be that you can't have more than 2 people at a time using the same account. But surprisingly, I've only ran into that issue with Netflix once. It's very rare that I'm on like a streaming site at the exact same time that 2 other people are on that same exact streaming service. So in the long run, when you have your group of friends to do it with, it's so much cheaper than cable. And
bundles is the best way to go these days. But listen, guys, we want to know your thoughts at the end of the day. What did you guys think of Rian Johnson's Knives Out? And what do you think about the idea of Netflix shelling over $400 million for the sequels? Go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And I think we got Indy back in here too. You back, Indy? Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and add you back up in here into the screen. And then we'll go ahead and go on to our next topic for the day. We're going to go ahead and transition over to some comic book news for you guys. We'll start dabbling into some DC and Marvel talk for you guys. Well, a lot of our DC television shows have in fact already returned to us. We are in the process right now, I believe, in regards to some of the, oops, sorry, hold on one second. Where did my thing go? There we go. In regards to our DC television shows, as of right now, we've got Batwoman on air. We also have Black Lightning, which is a little bit in a hiatus. We also have The Flash, that's certainly on right now. Supergirl just in fact returned. So a lot of our DC television shows are certainly pushing through as of right now with their brand new seasons. As of right now, we are on The Flash season 7, and we just got some brand new reveals this past week to say that we actually might be having ourselves some new faces that wind up sort of popping up in here. More speedsters, to certainly say the least. So let's go ahead and dive into this. This article actually comes to us from tvline.com, as we've got new insight into The Flash season 7 and who we could certainly expect to pop up here. It says The Flash is set to introduce Bart Allen with the parental twist. It says, get details on Jordan Fisher's impulsive speedster. So it says, big news for the Flash's Barry and Iris. It's a boy. TV Line has learned that Jordan Fisher from To All the Boys 2 and then Grease Live has been cast in the recurring guest star role of Bart Allen, the fastest teenager on the planet, and Barry and Iris's future son. This marks a departure from the DC Comics lore, where Bart is the son of tornado twin Don Allen and thus is Wes Allen's grandkid. It says Fisher will make his debut as Bart the Speedster Impulse in the CW series milestone 150th episode, which by my math, and I was told there would be no math, will be the 17th episode, of season 7. This is what one of the quotes that they gave. It says, the future son of Barry and Iris West Allen, Bart is the fastest teenager on the planet. Due to Bart's penchant for wildly impulsive behavior, a stunned Barry and Iris will have their hands full trying to teach their new son patience. But it's a task that they'll have to accomplish in order for their family to work together and stop the Flash's biggest threat yet. So yeah, guys, we've got a new child from Barry and Iris in here, as we're going to be introduced to Bart Allen himself. Definitely a departure from the lore in the comic books. So let me go over to Indy, the Flash man himself, who does reviews for The Flash. I definitely want to go ahead and give your thoughts. You might have actually spoken about this a little bit on your own review also, Indy. Is Indy back in here again? We still got Indy in here?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and go over to you, Indy, and get some of your thoughts in regards to Bart Allen, aka Impulse, making his impact on the Flash. What are your thoughts?
Weird. This is a weird place for this to go, especially with the comic book legacy. I know that they like to change stuff, but this is the one change in this show that actually bothers me, with Impulse actually being Barry Allen's grandson rather than his son, and that whole storyline that ran with that. So this is interesting and makes me wonder if what happened with Crisis changed things, like how they're going to explain this going on, if they try to explain it at all. So are they going to make him a tornado twin? You know what I'm saying? Instead of like where is this going? Or is this even really their son to start off with? Or could it be a ploy for something else to happen? So weird interests me, because I'm wondering where this writing is going, because as of yet, if you listen to my Flash reviews, the writing hasn't been going anywhere, and I really, really hope that it gets better. But we'll see what happens. Jordan Fisher herself, to me, is a good actor, so I'm not worried about that. But I am worried about how they're going to shoehorn this into a season where they're already trying to do a little bit too much.
I know. I definitely get the concern too. I mean, when they first immediately announced that he was going to be the son, I'm thinking to myself, "Come on, guys, what are we doing here? We just had a previous kid by these two in Nora." So I am curious, like you were saying, also, Indy, the idea of like, is he going to be a tornado twin now that we've gotten Crisis? Will Nora pop back up somehow? Also, will they, Nora and Impulse, Bart Allen, will they pop up and now technically be our new tornado twins for this DC TV? I don't know.
Nora's technically still going to exist at some time in the timeline. It's just that her future, her life, you know what I'm saying? As she go back to the past, something happens. So she's still going to be born. Time still cycles around, but this is really interesting that you would have Nora come up, and this has to be some change in the timeline, because I'm pretty sure she would have mentioned her brother. So
yeah, very, very true.
This is just, I don't know if, because they switched, you know what I'm saying, writers, if he just totally went, I don't care about anything that they wrote on the past seasons. I'm going to write what I want to write. But it does bring a little bit of excitement knowing that you have that to look forward to, and to see how they're going to do that, because I don't know if you've watched The Flash recently, because I know you gave up on it a while ago. I don't think they have any idea what they're doing, because the storyline that they're trying to implement right now is 2 seasons in its own, and they're trying to shoehorn it into a cut season at that. You know what I'm saying? A shorter season, because they already had 3 episodes go to something else. And what they're doing with this storyline, which I'm not trying to spoil anything for anybody, but you can check out what I'm talking about on the Patreon next week. It's really interesting with the lights and the Flash and the different forces and stuff that they're going into. So it has to have something to do with that. If it doesn't, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Let me also throw this over to you too, Reggie. I don't know if you're keeping up with the Flash yourself.
I kept up all the way to the season where the dude from Heroes was the embodiment of death. I forgot what character he was, with the slime and the
first half of last season is what
was it Bloodwork? Was his name?
Yeah, Bloodwork.
Yeah,
okay, Pretty much after that, I haven't kept up with it, and this news is very disheartening, because my good buddy, shout out to Sierra, she actually came up with the idea that if they bring a kid in, it's going to be a son. And this is just not what I wanted to hear, because I'm a big Flash fan in general. Like, I'm not a DC guy too much, but the Flash is my favorite. And this just comes off very odd.
Yeah, right.
Very
Yeah,
odd.
I think that's a great way to put it. Just odd. It's just different. I just don't know how to. I honestly don't know how to feel about it, and I'm hoping that they're just not trying to shoehorn him in just for the fact. You guys know I've been passionate about the idea, like we need more speedsters on this show, but not necessarily just speedsters just to throw them in there. But what's the legacy of the Flash going to be when Grant Gustin winds up leaving, or they just don't want to do this anymore? Do they want to continue along with the Flash afterwards? Do they want to build up another speedster to have to continue this season on afterwards, or is it a case of once Grant is gone, we're kind of done? You know what I mean? With
I
this
felt
series.
the series should have ended a few seasons ago, honestly.
Well, I've always been under the impression, like, Grant Gustin has certainly done his time. Let's let somebody else certainly build themselves up to be a new speedster in here, whether it be another Wally West or Bart Allen. I just don't want it to turn into another Keenan Lonsdale situation where you've got a character, but you don't do anything with him. And so for me, it's a little bit frustrating in the sense that we haven't seen Wally West lived up to his fullest potential, and now we're bringing in Bart Allen, who I'm a big fan of his impulse. I was always a big fan of his in the comic books, but now that we're taking our own liberties with him, I really don't know what they have planned in store for this guy. So I'm like you, Reggie. It definitely feels odd in that regards. But what about you, Stuart? Do you feel like this is rather odd, or is it hitting you a certain type of way?
Hold on 1 second, Stuart. So Adam's asking for the end of the CW verse. Because once the Flash goes off air, you might as well take everything else and put it on HBO Max.
I mean, who knows? Then if that's the case, build somebody else up to be on HBO Max. Like, let's get some of these characters built up.
Yeah, I mean, just because the Flash ends, I think it could still, if they can continue the Arrowverse without Arrow, they can continue the Arrowverse without the Flash as well.
Well, technically, it's not the Arrowverse anymore. It's the Flashverse now. I
think the name that the CW is trying to give it is really dumb. I will always call it either, the Berlantiverse or the Arrowverse. I refuse to call it the CW verse because then you're trying to imply that it's connected to other shows on the CW, not just the DC shows. So they're any other name other than the CW verse. I refuse to call it that.
I blame Legends with the supernatural hints.
Stuart, what do you think about this news, though, Stuart?
Okay, so I'm very mixed on it because like you said, Adam, I actually really like Bart Allen. He was actually my version of Kid Flash back when I was reading the Teen Titans comic books that were being produced in 2004. He was Impulse for maybe the first 2 or 3 issues, but then after Deathstroke messes him up really badly and ruins his costume, he decides to take on the mantle of the Kid Flash instead of Impulse. So I've always loved his character, and I've been waiting for him to come onto the show for the longest time because they've jokingly name dropped him several times earlier in the show, because you had one scene where Detective Lance accidentally forgets Barry's name and calls him Bart, and then you get the episode where Barry loses his memory and he thinks his name is Bart for some reason. So they've hinted at him several times, and I've been excited. And I think this is the weirdest way they could do it, is by having him turn out to be the son of Barry and Iris instead of the grandson, because then you kind of take away the big legacy that Bart had to live up to, because he didn't just have to live up to the legacy of the Flash. He had to live up to the legacy of the Tornado Twins as well, and I feel like that gets kind of taken away. And also, if he's going back in time, for whatever reason, if it's to meet his dad for the first time, because, same exact thing as Dawn, like maybe Barry's dead in the future, or if he's not, then I don't know. Either way, it's kind of a lose-lose situation, because you're either A, repeating the same exact storyline that you've already had, or B, you're showing that Crisis didn't really make a difference and Barry dies in the future regardless, or, C, he is still there in the future, but then, what was the point of Jordan even going to, or sorry, Bart going to the Flash to what was the point of Bart going back in time to the current era of the Flash to begin with? Then I don't know. I maybe if I see where they're going with it, I'll have a completely different opinion. But as of now, I'm just not a fan of him being the son of Barry and Iris, and I would prefer if they kept it like the comic books as the grandson of Barry and Iris.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see what the end game is going to be when it comes to what the main storyline from Eric Wallace is, how he actually fits into this. Bart Allen fits into the main storyline here. I'm not too familiar with Jordan Fisher himself as an actor, but I'm assuming if he picked up the role, they must have really liked what they wind up getting. Have you guys seen Jordan Fisher in anything in particular?
He was my favorite character in She-Ra.
She-Ra?
Yeah, he played the character Seahawk.
Oh, okay. Very nice. I didn't know that at all. So well, I guess we'll definitely have to see, guys. Anything at the end of the day, it's really going to come down to the execution and how they wind up planting him into the story. But I definitely do think that just the idea of him being the son seems to have a lot of us kind of scratching our head. But maybe there's a payoff at the end of the tunnel that we have not seen yet. So we'll definitely have to see.
Adam, I'm glad you're so optimistic.
I'm trying to be
because right now it sounds like they're about to regurgitate the Nora storyline.
I mean that's just an assumption, though, right? I mean that's just an assumption, just based off of what we're hearing. So I'm just trying to be open-minded in the sense that maybe Eric Wallace does have something really interesting up his sleeve. Like the idea of Crisis maybe coming into play here does fascinate me. I would be curious to know how Crisis did sort of affect the timeline or affect Barry's life kind of going forward. And so if the placement of Bart Allen is because of Crisis, I would like to kind of see what the mystery is and to see if Eric Wallace can sort of, not that he's got to convince me particularly, you know what I'm saying? But, me not accepting this news really well, do you have a really great storyline that'll come out of it that make me kind of be like, okay, that really wasn't that bad, but we'll see. So I don't mind giving things a chance, even if I'm not the biggest fan of how it hits me at first. You know what I mean?
That is the other thing is I will admit I'm definitely jumping to conclusions in a lot of ways. So I definitely want to wait and see how they actually pull it off in the show. But as of now, I'm definitely not as hyped as I wish I could be, because again, I really like this character, but just him being the son of Barry and Iris kind of worries me currently.
Yeah, that's probably where my biggest worry is. But I do feel like there could be some interesting details in here, right? Like, how do Iris and Barry handle the idea of having a son? They clearly still remember Nora and remember those feelings that they had and either the experiences that they went through with their daughter. But now here you have a son that pops up. Like, have they learned anything from their past with Nora's experience? Is this going to be painful for them to realize, oh, we've got a son now, but wait, what happened with Nora, right? Like, I do think there's some interesting elements to kind of go into it, but it's just not a fan of just the idea of him being a son. You know what I mean? But maybe it'll work. I don't know.
I also want to know how they're going to do the hair. The hair is very important.
Yeah, Bart had some great hair, man.
I just want Diggle to pop up and be like, "Life's a female dog, ain't it?"
He knows firsthand, don't he?
That's exactly what happened to him. He had a daughter that turned into a son, and then now he has a daughter and two sons now. So,
that's a great callback. That's a great callback, Indy. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
But no,
maybe he'll call up Diggle for some advice, man.
I mean, this kid's pretty cool. I think I remember him from Teen Wolf. I just don't remember what episodes. I think it was one of the Chimera episodes, which the CW seems to be tapping a lot of Teen Wolf alumni to be in their shows, with our current Superman and our friggin' what the heck was Arrow not being on the air screwing me up so friggin' bad. Arsenal, you know what I'm saying? And all that. These are all Teen Wolf alums. He's a Teen Wolf alum himself. I think he was on Secret Life of American Teenager 2. Don't ask me how I know. I didn't watch the show, but sure, maybe I did. But I don't have any mistrust as him because I know he's a capable actor. I think I saw him on something on Broadway too. I just can't remember what it was. Like one of the Broadway where you buy the tapes and you watch it. I just can't remember if that was him or not. But this showrunner saved the show to start off with. But I think with Crisis and Arrow ending and Flash being so tight in the Arrow and everything that was going on with a Stephen Amell led Berlanti verse, I don't think they know where they're going. Supergirl's ending, Arrow's already gone, Black Lightning's ending. I think the story that he wanted to tell, with all these shows going off and everything up in the air, I don't think he's able to tell the story that he started to tell. So I think he's having to try to just make a quick write and salvage something from what he had, because I believe what he started to write was going to end up in our Justice Society of America, you know what I'm saying, type of thing going on. And now with everything that's happening, he's not going to be able to do that. And I think that's honestly what Stargirl is going to do now. And it's not going to be the Flash that does it.
I get you. Building a new head of the universe here.
I actually kind of like how the Justice Society is starting to pop up more often in Stargirl and in Black Adam, because I actually started in comics reading the old stuff, like the old stuff, like the Metal Men and stuff like that, and to see more Justice Society in the mainstream with all those really fun characters from Jack Kirby and other writers and creators from way back when. And the now is really cool because it's not more Superman, more Batman. It's characters most people don't know, and I like that.
Yeah, I would like to see the JSA at some point really get that same type of shine that the JLA certainly have gotten over the years. They've got some amazing characters and a ton of lore to certainly sink their teeth into. But guys, listen, we want to know your thoughts at the end of the day. Barry and Iris, they've got a son now. It's a boy. What do you guys think about the idea of Jordan Fisher popping up as Bart Allen, not as the grandkid, but also as the son? Guys, we definitely want to go ahead and know your thoughts in the comment section box below or the live chat as well, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, with that wrapped up, we're going to go ahead. Oops, sorry, Stuart. Let me go ahead and see if where's my face at? There we go. My big old face in this camera. I'm trying to keep pulling back if I can. We're going to go ahead and stay in the DC realm for you guys here today, but this time we're going to go into the movie aspect of things. DC clearly has a relatively big slate of films that they're going to be revealing to us. We just recently had Zack Snyder's Justice League sort of wrap up. It definitely seems as though WB is branching off into a new direction with a lot of new content certainly headed our way, whether that be in the movie theaters or on HBO Max. We also just recently got ourselves a Suicide Squad trailer from James Gunn that's certainly going to be hitting us relatively soon also. But there are a couple of DC projects that were certainly in development being worked that unfortunately just did not make the cut any longer. And so let's go ahead and talk about this because we do have a couple of titles that have in fact been canceled by Warner Brothers certainly moving forward. And one of them is a film that, while I'm not quite sure what I was going to expect, the fact that we had somebody like Ava DuVernay attached to it definitely got me excited, to say the least. But this comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter, letting us know that Ava DuVernay's New Gods, along with James Wan's The Trench, DC movies are not moving forward at Warner Brothers any longer. This is in fact an exclusive report from the Hollywood Reporter. It says the terror of the deep and the fire of apocalypse won't be felt anytime soon. What a tagline. Warner Brothers and DC Films' upcoming slate is moving forward without Ava DuVernay's New Gods and James Wan's Aquaman spinoff, The Trench. As part of our DC slate, some legacy development titles, including The New Gods and The Trench, will not be moving forward. We thank our partners Ava DuVernay, Tom King, James Wan, and Peter Safran for the time and collaboration during this process, and look forward to our continued partnership with them on other DC stories. The project will remain in their skillful hands if they were to move forward in the future. So it sounds very much like, while they don't have plans as of right now, they definitely might have something in the future. Ava DuVernay, however, remains in the DC fold and is currently working on the DC series Naomi for the CW as well. It does say here that, let's see here. It says DC is currently building an interconnected slate in which projects will feed in and out of the big screen and the small, with films such as James Gunn's Suicide Squad spinning off into a John Cena HBO Max series for Peacemaker, along with Matt Reeves' Batman spawning its own Gotham Police Department focus show as well. It says, except for the Batman, hold on. It says New Gods, which would have been a sprawling tale, was complicated by the fact that its villain, Darkseid, just appeared as a major foil in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and there was a desire to have space between the latter and any new appearances. Except for the Batman, which is set on an alternate Earth known to geeks as Earth 2, DC is plotting its films and shows to share the same universe. Key to setting up its new status quo will be The Flash, which we're going to be getting, which will tackle the multiverse and is said to also lend clarity to the future of the Justice League with multiple Batmen as well as Supergirl appearing. They do have other projects that are slated right now. You've got Black Adam in 2022, Shazam in 2023, and we've also heard them talking about Blue Beetle, Batgirl, Supergirl, Green Lantern Corps, and Static Shock, and we also just got the announcement for Zatanna as well. So we definitely see what the DC has sprawled out for us, but unfortunately it seems as though the Trench and the New Gods will not be a part of this. So let me go ahead and throw this over to you first. You know what, we'll go with you first here, Reggie. I definitely want to know your thoughts in regards to this. I know you were a big supporter of Ava DuVernay. Probably, I think you were probably really excited to kind of see New Gods. So this news probably kind of crushes you a little bit. But I just want to know your thoughts on the idea of both these films not moving forward. While it says, again, it says that while they're not in development any longer, it seems as though they're still going to at least maybe hold on to this stuff. But the fact that we're not getting it, what are you thinking about it, Stuart? I mean, Reggie, I'm sorry.
Well, my situation here is this is why I like Marvel more than DC, because DC likes to make a lot of promises and they like to not keep them. So you have all these ideas and they don't go everywhere. A lot of projects are canceled after they're announced with DC Comics for some reason. And another oddity is I wanted to finally see Ava do a superhero project. I'm glad Naomi's coming out, but she was also the original director for Black Panther, and I kind of wanted to see what her ideas were for that. And now we had another situation, a new story with New Gods, and we don't get to see that. I would like to know what is her, you know, how does she see a superhero? How does she develop that? Naomi gives us the opportunity for that. The Trench, I wasn't expecting much from that because the story seemed razor thin to me. But with DC in general, they seem to want to mimic what Marvel is doing, but they want to do their own thing. But I don't know if that's what they really, really want. It feels like they're trying to play catch up with Marvel, say, oh, this is connected. The Batman will be on Earth too. Well, they said that, but will that be established in the movie? Because I don't think Batman being a detective is going to have time to say, oh, wait, there's a murder here, and I'm also in Universe 2. I don't think they're going to do that. So I just want to see good stories, good characters, good presentation. I don't really care about interconnected stuff for the sake of. I want just what kind of story you're trying to tell. Kind of like how we're talking about the CW. We just want, stories. The interconnectedness should come naturally. It shouldn't be shoehorned. So Peacemaker shouldn't show up on Teen Titans Go.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely don't think it's in that regards. I'm kind of always under the impression that when it comes to the interconnectedness of things, just maybe a more multiversal connection, if you will, right? Like I don't necessarily know if Batman is aware that, hey, I'm even on an Earth 2, so much as a viewer, we just know that this Batman takes place just in a completely different Earth or in a completely different world, if you will. So I do think that there is an interconnectedness still included as part of the multiverse. I think they kind of showcased that a little bit in Crisis as to how the multiverse works, right? That I think we wind up getting brief images of some of the DC universe content and some of the movie content and stuff, you know, just letting us know that there are several different worlds that encompass this, all the different types of media that we have our DC sort of characters on. I think that's where the interconnectedness certainly comes from. I don't think we would see something like a Teen Titans Go on, like with Batman meeting up or something like that. Who knows? Maybe Robert Pattinson wants to get into voice acting. Who knows? But no, but I definitely get what you're saying there. But I do think that that's probably where that interconnectedness comes from. You know, let me throw this over to you also, Stuart. You hear this news here that New Gods isn't pushing forward. Ava DuVernay is not going to be doing that anymore. James Wan isn't doing The Trench. How do you feel about both of these movies not seeing the light of day?
It honestly kind of feels like every time I think I see where DC's going with their movie slate, it always kind of feels like they then decide last minute to kind of change things up a little bit too much. And, you know, the big thing is, and I know that DC has even addressed this themselves, is that they don't have, you know, a plan per se. They don't have their idea of how they're going to make like an overall new Justice League movie, how everything is going to connect later. It's just a bunch of solo films that take place in the same universe, with the exception of Batman, which would be fine. If we eventually were going to be getting another like Justice League type film, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon. And with that, it seems like they're constantly changing their mind of how they want to go about like with the future of solo movies. Like I thought New Gods would have been at least a really cool way to show that, hey, even though we don't have plans for a Justice League movie yet, we still have like this big universe out there. This still, you know, huge, you know, world out there with these New Gods. And it's interesting too, because in a lot of ways, this majorly contradicts Walter Hamada earlier when he would mention that he has no problems with having multiple versions of the same characters going on at the same time. He said at one point, yeah, we're going to have a Robert Pattinson Batman on the big screen, but then on HBO Max, we have a bunch of projects planned for different versions of Batman. And we know that audiences are smart enough to know the difference. But now here he is canceling New Gods because he doesn't want people getting confused with two different dark sides. And as for The Trench, while I'm not as upset about that one getting canceled because it's not like it was going to add anything to the universe or anything, it was just going to be a standalone film. I still find it bizarre that they canceled it because this could have been their next Joker type of film, because The Trench was meant to be a low budget horror movie, and the branding alone would have meant that it would have not only gotten its money back, but it would have made a decent profit too. Like it was supposed to have like a $60 million budget from what I understand. So as long as it made like, you know, $200 million, $300 million in box office, that would have been a really big profit for them. So I find it incredibly bizarre that they canceled The Trench. While I'm not upset about it, I think in a marketing standpoint, that was a really bad move on them. But yeah, the one I am kind of upset about again is New Gods, because it was their perfect opportunity to really develop the universe as a whole without having to worry about setting anything up for the future.
Yeah, I definitely will echo your sentiments in regards to the New Gods one. It is fascinating to me, especially after the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League, with all the positive buzz that's kind of come out of it. You know, for me, one of the great aspects of that film was the introduction to Darkseid, giving Steppenwolf a little bit more gravitas and meaning in regards to his actions. You know, seeing his position when it comes to Darkseid, and just seeing not only visually what Darkseid looks like, but just the control over the people that, you know, that worship him, if you will. There was something really menacing that we wind up seeing about him in the Zack Snyder's Justice League. And so, you know, when you finish off that movie with, you know, the Justice League sending Darkseid a very clear message, if you will, and Darkseid going to go ahead and gather up his forces, you know, for me, I think New Gods would have been a really great look into that world, an aspect that we haven't really been introduced to. You're not bringing back Zack Snyder. He's not directing the New Gods film. I don't see the problem in delivering for people's curiosity about who this character is, right? I mean, it would be a massive film, to certainly say the least. It would be huge, probably the hugest film that WB has probably done up until this point outside of Justice League. The ability to have to then get into the Jack Kirby New Gods world. I mean, that's a lot to have to sit down and explore. And I think Ava DuVernay had a great co-writer on this with Tom King to really be able to do something with it. So for me, the New Gods thing definitely feels like a missed opportunity, because it does allow you to be able to carry on some of the topics and ideas from maybe the Justice League movie without having Zack Snyder so much attached to it, but through the eyes and the vision of Ava DuVernay and Tom King. It's just, and for me, it's just an aspect of the DC universe I thought would have been really great to explore after you've kind of introduced us to that point. But now we're certainly not getting this at all. But let me throw this over to you, Indy. Even though we're not getting this right now, we could potentially get it in the future. What do you think about the idea of the Trench not getting developed and New Gods? Are you shedding any tears all over this, or what?
The Trench I honestly didn't even care about, to be totally honest with you. I thought it was going to be a cool concept if it came out, but it wasn't something that I was rushing to try to get to see. But the New Gods, especially after the introduction of Darkseid and the Snyder Cut, it almost feels like this is Warner Brothers trying to kill anything, right? Anything that has to do with us being able to have some connection to the Snyderverse. They go, they like Darkseid so much. Let's get rid of this New Guys movie, so they can't figure out who that is or anything that you're supposed to have. We don't really need it. We're not going to continue with the Snyderverse anyway, so let's just get rid of all of that. And we'll just, if they cry about it or we can't make money off of something else, we'll come back to it later. This is why I feel like, as consumers, as fans of the medium that we're partaking in, this is where we have to make our dollars talk. If we wanted something like the New Guys, we have to show them that we wanted something like the New Guys. We have to show them that we want the Snyderverse, and not, to be honest with you, not accept the second-rate BS that they're giving us. Because our problem is that I'm such a nerd for DC and Marvel that it doesn't matter what they put out, I'm going to go see it, whether it's bad or not. So it's like we need to get to the point where we go, if you're not giving us what we're asking for, well, we're not going to take it. And that's the only way we're going to be able to keep movies like the New Guys, keep the Snyderverse, keep stuff like that alive. And that's mainly why Disney is able to do everything they do, is because parents forever have been talking with their money for Disney. You know what I'm saying? That's why they bring the movies back out the vault and give it to us. That's why I mean, we just have to be better with our money and let them know what we want. I wanted that. I was geeked about that. That was probably my favorite thing that they were going to do with DC. Yeah. And now you took it away. I look forward to nothing now that you guys are doing.
We're not gonna take it. Well, we're gonna take it.
I want to point out that two of my favorite DC characters are inside of that story that will not see the light of day. Big Barda and Mr. Miracle. I really like them. They're one of my favorite characters ever, and I won't see them now. So thank you, DC.
Well, I can't be upset because I've been screaming for Zatanna for like years, and as long as they do that, I guess they're giving me what I want. So can I really be upset, or are you going to cancel it because you found out there's too much stuff that they were going to do?
Yeah, I will say this. For me, this definitely feels like I would agree with you, Indy, in the sense that this does feel like this is Warner Brothers just really trying to push themselves away from anything Zack Snyder related, if they absolutely can. I mean, they've been very open about the idea that his project was just a cul-de-sac. We've got ideas of our own that we're trying to push forward with. So this definitely feels very much along those lines. I could see Ava DuVernay and Tom King still writing this this maybe after Flashpoint. It definitely feels as though Warner Brothers is banking a lot of their hope on this Flash movie to really go ahead and sort of set this reset button for their entire universe and things like that, and then kind of push forward with a new direction. So maybe we could eventually get a New Gods film, but maybe as a new introduction to these characters outside of what we wind up getting from the Zack Snyder's cut.
Adam, as far as Flashpoint, being a Flash guy, I know what Flashpoint is, and they had to make Snyder cut was 4 hours. Okay, Flashpoint will have to probably be about the same amount of time.
No.
In order to present all the characters and story dynamics they want to do. And especially being a movie that's fresh. People won't know everything about Flash. And they're like, oh, what's Flash? Oh, he's going to different universes. And I just feel like a lot of people are going to be like, what is going on here? Why there's so many characters? And I don't know if DC, with their track record currently, will present this in the manner that it should be.
It's not going to be the comic book Flashpoint. I can tell you that now. The only thing it's really going to have in common with Flashpoint is the time travel aspect and the name. That's about it. Everything that they've been kind of teasing about this upcoming Flashpoint movie, everything that we can look forward to seeing in it, it completely is. It really shows that this is not actually meant to be like an adaptation of Flashpoint. It's going to be its own thing. And I'm sure it's going to be a fun movie. Like, I definitely still have some high hopes for it, especially given who's directing it. But at the same time, we got to go into this knowing that we're not going to be getting a comic book accurate story.
And I'll be okay with it. I feel as long as the premise is there, the idea of what Barry Allen's purpose is he trying to save his mother type of thing? Like, if you can give me that outline of that basic premise and just go from there and take your liberties, I'll be okay with it. Because again, Civil War wasn't a complete accurate adaptation, right? I mean, we've seen movies that have been based off of adaptations come nowhere near what they were in the comic book lore per se. But I think if you can give me the theme and just the outline of what Flashpoint was like, and then create something out of that, I'll take that. I'll take that. I might be the only one that takes that.
It's funny though, because to me, I feel like the Snyder cut, ironically, actually gave them a perfect opportunity to set up Flashpoint. They could have had it because they have that post-apocalyptic future, and they could have easily had the Flash going back in time. And maybe at first his mission was to, prevent evil Superman. But then he thought, wait a minute, if I can time travel, why not go back even further? And that's when he decided to prevent the death of his mom, thinking that he could prevent everything else later on as it comes up. And then, boom, he created an alternate timeline in doing so.
Who knows?
That could have been worse than the apocalyptic future.
There could be elements of that first Justice League movie kind of hinted in this Flashpoint to kind of give us an idea of like what came before and really how different things are going to be now as he winds up changing the timeline, if you will. So there could be, there might be hints of that in there. For me, I'm really excited just to see how the script kind of comes together, because from one of the things that they've talked about is that they have collaborated with a lot of people in putting the pieces together for this script. I mean, going so far to even team up with the Flash television series that we saw last season, which, if you ask me, I definitely think will have an impact on this Flash movie also. So I do think that they're being smart about. I do think that they are being pretty smart with this particular script. So we'll see how the execution is, though, at the end of the day. But I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, for me, when it comes to the Trench, I think like majority of you guys, though, like it just wasn't on my radar. I mean, if James Wan was actually tackling it, like writing and directing it himself and not just producing it, maybe I would have cared about it a little bit more. But they didn't hit me enough in the Aquaman movie to make me want an actual horror film for it, despite if it might have done well in the box office or not. So for me, wasn't really a big fan of it. So I was glad to see that one kind of taken off the books. But New Gods stings a little bit, because we know how long Ava and Tom have been, not that we know them by first name, but the fact that they've been working on these projects for so long, to kind of see it shelved, kind of stings a little bit. But we'll see what happens.
And again, it's like with the Trench movie. It's not that I'm upset we're not getting it. I just find it bizarre because that could have been easy money for Warner Brothers, because James Wan knows what he's doing when it comes to horror films. We've seen it in his other films, and we've even seen it in a DC horror movie, or the DC horror show, The Thing, or Swamp Thing. Sorry. I said Thing because the first episode was a lot like the movie The Thing. But anyways, yeah, like we know he can do horror movie within. We know he can do horror within the DC universe very well. So it is weird that DC decided to scrap what would have been easy money for them.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting, guys. But listen, we want to know your guys' thoughts. Listen, at the end of the day, these are just our A+ opinions, but we definitely want to go ahead and know yours. So definitely let us know your thoughts in regards to New Gods and The Trench just not making a cut. And are there any particular DC films that are currently on the slate that you guys are certainly looking forward to? Go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below after this particular stream. And we'll go ahead and move on to our next DCEU movie that we want to talk about. I wanted to go ahead and throw this topic in here specifically for Indy himself. He did go ahead and make a nod to this story that we were going to be tackling today. I don't know why I keep doing that. Sorry, Indy. But I wanted to go ahead and throw this storyline in. It actually dropped last week, but because of the fact that we did not have ourselves an A+ Hero Report episode last week, I thought, why not just sneak it in to this one? Because I feel like we've been asking for this movie for quite some time to actually come out, and it's finally here, ladies and gentlemen. Zatanna is in fact going to be making her big screen appearance here. Let me go ahead and pull up this article, guys, as we go ahead and dive into this, because they have officially found its writer for the movie. This comes to us from Variety.com. DC Film taps promising young woman director Emerald Fennell to write Zatanna's superhero movie. This was, in fact, an exclusive report from Variety last week. It says Emerald Fennell, the Oscar-nominated director of Promising Young Woman, is taking on a different kind of vigilante. She has been tapped to write Zatanna, a big screen adaptation of the DC Comics heroine. The movie from Warner Brothers DC Films is set to be released theatrically. J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot is producing through his overall deal with Warner Media. Fennell's hiring comes as her first directorial debut. Promising Young Woman has been the toast of award season, along with 5 Oscar nods, including Best Picture, Screenplay, and Actress. The movie has garnered attention from the Global Globes, BAFTA, Directors Guild, and the Writers Guild. It does say the upcoming DC Extended Universe installment will be Zatanna's first franchise appearance. She is known for her involvement in with the Justice League, though the character has never appeared in a DC movie. And they talk about the other roles that Zatanna has kind of popped up in the past as well. So we don't really have any details as of what the script is going to be like, but we have our writer here, guys, Emerald Fennell, to go ahead and write the Zatanna movie. So let me go over to you, Indy. You hear the idea that we have a writer finally for Zatanna. What's your level of excitement, man? I know you've been pumped to finally get Zatanna on the big screen here. What do you think made them pull the trigger on this, and what's your level of excitement, man?
My level of excitement is over 9,000. But I honestly think that everybody can thank me, that I am the main and core reason that this is even happening. So
you mentioned Zatanna weekly, so definitely.
Yeah, my cash app is Indy Uchiha 219. If any of you want to thank me for what I got done, nah, man, this is going to be amazing, because I feel like this is a character who would translate to whether small or big screen very well. Ton of lore, lots of stuff going on, tying into her pops being Dr. Fate, a whole bunch going on.
Wait, her dad is Pierce Brosnan?
Nice. But it would be amazing just to see her on the screen, period. Her tie-ins to Justice League Dark. There's a lot you can do just from having Zatanna on the screen that you can't do with a lot of other characters. So give that woman, the most amazing female in DC Comics, her just due, and do it proper. That's all you have to do. And they got somebody who got tapped to direct, Miss Fennell, who is amazing and just adds to my excitement of what I'm finna get. But I digress. I will hold my breath until it is done.
Yes.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, that's a big key, right? Till it actually hits the screen. At this point, you certainly never know. It's interesting that you bring that up. So, Emerald Fennell, she is been picked up as the writer for this movie, Oscar nominated. They also just recently on comingsoon.net, they actually spoke with the writer Emerald Fennell on the possibility of actually directing the movie. This is what she says. She says, it's so exciting. That's not a conversation that's happened at all, though. So I have no insight. And also, we're still in the early days. It's something that we've been working on for a while. I've been speaking to Bad Robot Productions, who are amazing. You want to get the first bit right, which is the script, before you think of anything else. It's a very specific thing. The world of superhero movies is incredibly exciting, but it's also a different challenge. The main thing for me is making sure that it's really, really good. I'm such a genre fan. I'm a fan of witchcraft, magic, and comic books, and this is scary and intense, is what she's saying. So those are her views, the writer as of right now, and clearly, according to her, also they're making reference of the idea that they have not decided on the director as of yet, but just based off of what Emerald Fennell has done in her previous work, again, being nominated for an Oscar, not only for Best Film, but writing and directing as well. She clearly has an impressive resume to herself. So we'll see if she winds up directing it. But guys, let me throw this over to you, Stuart. You hear this news in regards to Zatanna finally coming to the big screen, Oscar nominated writer attached to it. What is your level of thoughts in regards to it?
I'm super hyped for this. I especially love the quote that you just brought up from her, saying that we first want to make sure we get the script right before we even worry about who's directing it. It kind of shows that, even though I've seen Promising Young Women, and she's a really talented director in that movie, especially because she has like a really cool, interesting style when it comes to the color palette of that film, I'll say. So I would be totally open for her to direct the Zatanna movie, but what it sounds like they want to do is, it sounds like they want to make sure they got a solid script, and then once they have the script down, then that's when it sounds like they want to decide who would be the best director to work on a script like this. So I do like that she's not trying to push herself as the director before they even know fully what kind of movie they're working with. But her excitement for working on the movie, the fact that it sounds like she was the one to approach Bad Robot to work on this, and also the fact that it's a Bad Robot working on this to begin with, I'm definitely excited, and it means that we're going to be getting like a whole new area of the DC extended universe getting explored in live action for the first time, because I think we've gotten her in Smallville, but that's about it. But for other than that, I think this is like the first time we've gotten her in live action on the big screen for sure. So it's that whole dark area of the DC universe that we get to have explored for the first time, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, you definitely make a good point. It is she has popped up in Smallville once before, but I think that's about the extent of her live action work that Zatanna's been involved in. I am glad that you brought up Bad Robot here, because we have been told that J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot are going to be planning on working on a Justice League Dark. Now, whether I can't remember if that's a movie or if that's going to be something for HBO Max or not, but the fact that she's also working with Bad Robot on the Zatanna movie kind of makes me think that there's automatically going to be a connection here. It would not surprise me if whoever they cast for Zatanna, whatever the storyline is for Zatanna, might actually play a significant role in what J.J. Abrams is trying to create for a Justice League Dark. So I kind of look at this as sort of like a prequel to maybe whatever we get for Justice League Dark. But the fact that they're already collaborating with each other, I think is a really great fit, honestly. Let me pass this over to you, Reggie. You hear about Emerald Fennell being the writer for Zatanna. Not sure if you've checked out her movie promising young woman or not. But I just want to know your thoughts in regards to her coming on to write and just the idea of Zatanna finally getting her movie. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, I haven't seen Promising Young Woman yet, but I have seen The Crown, and she plays Camilla Parker Bowles, and she's very good at it. And I know she has the talent for creativity, so I've been hearing nothing but good things about her directing. So I'm excited for this. And then as far as Zatanna, I'm a big fan of Zatanna. I really enjoyed Batman the Animated Series that featured her in an episode and showed her dad and all that, and kind of got me interested in the character. You know, if we had a Justice League movie coming, she would be great, especially if they used the whole storyline of what she did to certain characters in Batman, like in the last decade, where she lobotomized certain characters and Batman got wind of that. I just like the potential she brings. She brings a lot of story potential, a lot of new chances and opportunity to, expand the DC universe beyond just, the Batverse or the Superverse.
Yeah, this is definitely one character I'm really excited to see what her connection to the universe is going to be, and really just all the spinoffs and connections that we can get just out of this story alone. So yeah, I am really eager to see how this kind of plays out also. You know what? And I'm glad you brought up her movie also, Stuart. Promising Young Woman. I wasn't sure exactly what to expect when I sat down and watched that movie, and it kind of blew me away. I didn't know what to expect at all. I loved the intensity, the thriller aspect that she manages to include in the movie also, especially based off of the subject matter that we wind up getting there. It's almost like a comedic thriller, if you will. I didn't know how it was going to hit me at all, but there were definitely moments where I certainly laughed. But then the movie does a fantastic job of being able to switch it up on you immediately and kind of go into sort of that dark storytelling mode and get a little bit twisted and intense. And I didn't know what to expect, but it definitely impressed me enough to certainly keep my attention span for the entire movie. And I really enjoyed what I wound up seeing at the end of the day.
Yeah, same here. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what she brings now to the superhero genre.
Yeah, I think character-wise, I do think that she could really tap into Zatanna's character really well, and I would like to see what her vision would be for this type of world, for somebody that clearly enjoys, like she said, witchcraft and magic and things like that in comic books. I really want to see where her vision certainly takes Zatanna down that road. If they can kind of keep that the great character work, but also keep that intensity side of things when it comes to just the sci-fi and magic element to Zatanna. I think that'd be pretty fantastic stuff that we wind up getting.
Yep.
All right, guys, but listen, we want to know your thoughts. What do you guys think about the idea of Zatanna getting her particular film? Do you want to see the writer and Emerald Fennell also direct this upcoming movie for Zatanna? Go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, guys, we've got one last topic that we're going to go ahead and round off our episode with before we get into some live viewer questions with you guys. But Marvel is back at it again. It's been a minute since we've had a Marvel movie actually out in theaters, but we have one that's going to be here right around the corner before we know it in Black Widow. They recently did go ahead and bump the release date for this film one final time, or at least I'm hoping this is the one final time for the bumping of this movie. But Black Widow will be released July 9th, not only in movie theaters, but also on Disney Plus as part of premium access for, I think it's probably $30 if I'm not mistaken as well. So Black Widow is coming, ladies and gentlemen. We just recently had ourselves a brand new trailer that wind up dropping as of yesterday. So I thought it would be pretty awesome for us to really go ahead and highlight Black Widow and just kind of talk about the trailer that we wind up getting here as of yesterday. So whoever wants to start off first, man, what were your impressions of this trailer that we wind up getting? Did it hook you even more than before?
I haven't seen it yet. Not because
shame on you, Stuart.
Not because I don't want to, mostly because I honestly I don't know why I haven't seen it yet. It's weird. I should probably go do it now while you guys talk about it.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Go.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
What about you? What about you, Indy?
This trailer feels like it should have been the first trailer. That's honestly how it feels to me, that it should have been the first trailer. It doesn't reveal too much about the movie. It just gives more of the backstory that we've already experienced or went through. You know what I'm saying? And we know what's going on. So this trailer does away. The other two trailers I felt were following Infinity War and Endgame and needed to be up tempo, a lot going on to keep people interested, especially after showing her death in the movie, right? This trailer is what you needed because it sets a tone. It shows you that, yes, there's going to be action and stuff in the movie, but there's also history. There's a story to be told, that she's actually going through stuff. So where she got from the end of Civil War to where we actually see her in you know what I'm saying, in Endgame, this is where what she was doing and how she turned from this person to that person, you know what I'm saying, in between those movies. And I really feel like it would have been a better pace, especially after what happened in Endgame, to pace it out with this trailer first, than to have the other two first. I enjoyed it. It was actually really good. Her voiceover work, it made me excited for a movie that should have been out. That's what it did. A movie that I wasn't really worried about, that should have already been out. It made me very excited for it. So hey, with July 9th, right now.
Yeah, I believe it's July 9th that it's scheduled for.
July 9th, day before Liv's birthday. I think that's my it's great because now that means that this tattoo I have of my old wedding anniversary actually means something better now. So July 9th, officially, I have a tattoo for Black Widow. Let's go.
Nice, man. Nice. Sorry, I'm trying to get this my phone charging. It's dying on me over here. For some reason, it won't like charge on its side. I wonder why that is. Let me see if I've got a actual charger. Hold
So
on.
Adam, while you do that, I just want to add that although
Yeah,
I am trying not to spoil myself with too much more of Black Widow, I'm on the hype train, and I've been on the hype train for years because I always felt she should have had a movie prior to Iron Man 2. I mean, she should have had a movie like years ago. I'm so hyped for the movie that I'm afraid to watch anything because I'm going to pick out things that I'm familiar with the Black Widow lore, and I'm going to end up spoiling myself. But I'm looking forward to July 9th. I will gladly pay $30, $40, $50. You know, this up the prices. I don't really care. It's Natasha, and I'm here for her.
I always said that premium subscription, there was always going to be a movie that somebody was going to pay for. It may not have been Mulan, you know what I'm saying, but they were always going to put something out that somebody was going to pay for. That Rena movie that dropped did very well with the way they promoted it, throwing it on a premium subscription. Black Widow will do very well.
Yes.
People are going to pay to sit at home and watch this movie if they can't go to theaters. I will be one of them.
It's great. It's great to agree with you, Andy. It really is.
Yeah, that doesn't happen a lot.
No.
I just finished watching the new trailer. I think what stood out to me the most, apart from her like talking a lot about her, legacy and talking about how a lot of the Avengers don't know about her full past, despite them being the closest thing to family that we see her having. So I love that we see that she actually did have a family before, and it did seem like they were close. So I'm really curious what we're going to learn about like happened between all of them. So and what it is that separated them and what it is that's bringing them together. The other thing is Taskmaster. like I've loved him in the couple of shots that we've gotten of him before in the previous trailers. But something about seeing him in this trailer, he looks like he's going to be a fantastic villain for her. And you know, he definitely reminds me of not just himself from the comic books, but also in the Spider-Man video game. The way he utilizes his arsenal looks like it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be seeing this on the big screen because I will be fully vaccinated by the time this movie comes out. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I get vaccinated this Friday, I think. This is something Reggie might agree on me. He keeps saying he when he says Taskmaster.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to say the person who is in that Taskmaster costume, because I really believe it's a she.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. But I don't know. I saw Taskmaster, and the first thing I thought was, man, that looks like a Sixth Ranger to me.
It does. And we're not sure that's a good or bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing is that for the set photos, when they were first being shown, a lot of people were saying that he looked like Lord Zed because, you know, when you don't have like the CG enhancements, when you're seeing it without like the camera lenses that they want you to see it through, a lot of Marvel costumes look cheesy, like really, really cheesy without like the filters and without the right cameras. So a lot of people were thinking that Taskmaster was going to look really bad. And I kept saying, no, just wait till you see him in the trailer. And I was right. Once you see him in the trailer, he looks incredible.
Yeah, I love the design. I am leaning towards the idea of Taskmaster being a female also. But I cannot wait to see this movie. One of the things that I was super critical about in the very first trailer that we got was the idea of Black Widow just like surfing through the air and stuff. I'm like, are we going to get like a whole entire fighting sequence of them just falling down thousands of feet sort of thing in midair sort of thing? It looked a little bit ridiculous to me when I first saw it in the trailer the first time, but it looks significantly better when I look at it this time. Seeing her having to go toe to toe with the Taskmaster, the fact that she at least jumps out with a parachute is promising to know that she at least jumps out with one. I'm assuming if anything, they'll probably fight all the way till they get to the bottom, and then she'll manage to last minute grab the parachute again and then save herself. That's exactly what I'm expecting. But it looks like the action is going to be absolutely epic. But I also loved in this trailer too the fact that they continue to go back to the idea that they're going to be focusing on her family. They've hinted at the idea that maybe David Harbour's character was like Red Guardian, I think his name is, that they might be her family, but I felt like in this trailer they definitely really confirmed it. The idea of David Harbour maybe being her father, the other actress perhaps being their mom, kind of questioning the idea. Like she says, we thought we were doing what was right for you guys type of thing, right? So I definitely do think there's going to be a great emotional aspect to learning about the past of Black Widow and Natasha and just where she comes from, how she found herself in the situation that she certainly is, and really how she adapted her own life to try and make the best of the situation that she found herself in. So this definitely feels very much like a family drama with some amazing sort of espionage action sequences. And for me, this trailer just definitely got me even more hyped for what we're going to get in Black Widow in July. And the musical score attached to this too, I thought was great. It felt like it was a little bit of a homage to the Avengers score a little bit as well, which always seemingly hits me. But I'm a huge fan of Florence Pugh. Glad that she's going to be in here sort of as that sister. I love just the idea of her looking up to Black Widow sort of as that role model, wanting to have been like her sister. So there's going to be some really interesting elements to Black Widow's life that we've never been experienced to before, and to be able to see that time frame between Civil War and Infinity War, if you will, I think is going to be really great for just the legacy of the Black Widow character. So it is going to be great to see Scarlett Johansson back on the big screen. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to this.
Have we confirmed the timeline?
Yeah, I believe that's a timeline. I believe it's right after the time period when she's on the run.
Because I have some thoughts that it probably won't happen, but just my predictions, and they're pretty daunting, really. Because I think that Black Widow actually is still alive, and this is why I think, and this is all just me. I think Florence will take her identity and she's the one that died in Avengers. I think that's what happened.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't say it's too much out of the realm of possibility for sure. Definitely possible. I personally would have always really wanted to see because Yelena Belova in the comic books does go on to have a little bit of a run as a Black Widow in the comic books. So if Scarlett Johansson is officially done as that character, I've always would have loved to have seen Florence Pugh step up to kind of take on that mantle as we go further along into the MCU type of thing. So I would be open to both aspects, like you brought up, Reggie, just because I love Scarlett Johansson, and I really would love to see her be able to continue along with this role, especially after this her solo film. So I'm okay with either or decision they decide to go. But yeah, I wouldn't say that it's not possible for sure, though.
I will say this, though. The reason I kind of am hoping, it is the timeline that we all are assuming it is between Civil War and Infinity War. Because you get in Falcon the Winter Soldier, you get a lot of scenes where they're talking about how annoying and how much of a pain it was for them to constantly be on the run, constantly having to check in with each other and that kind of a thing. It would be cool to get a movie where it kind of shows the struggle of, even when you have a whole team backing you, how you guys have to constantly stay separated, and you guys have to constantly check in with each other just to make sure neither one of you have been captured by the government. So it is going to be kind of cool, to my opinion, to see that kind of aspect play out with her, because at this point in the timeline, she would still be a fugitive.
Yeah, she definitely still will be still a fugitive and on the run for sure. Probably why she tries to connect back up with her family. So I am eager to see exactly why she goes to her family, and why Taskmaster's certainly after her. Also, the guy in the trailer is like, bring her home. So for me, when he says something like that, I'm thinking he's referring to the Red Room, which is another reason why I think maybe one of those Black Widow spies that they've built up over these years, maybe they're the new Taskmaster. You know what I mean? So we'll see, but I'm really intrigued by this movie, and I think it continues to show me why we've always needed this damn Black Widow movie for the longest time. So I'm glad we're finally getting it. But guys, listen. At the end of the day, we want to know your thoughts. What did you guys think about the Black Widow trailer? Did this trailer get you even more excited for the upcoming movie in July? And will you be paying $30 to see it at home, or will you be going out into the movie theaters to go ahead and check it out? Let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, guys, I think that will wrap up all of our topics today. So thank you very much for everybody certainly joining us today and giving us your thoughts in regards to all the topics that we explored today. But it's time to get into some live viewer questions. Reggie, are you going to stick around with us for live viewer questions, man, or what?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and start tackling some of these. Oh, yeah. Keisha agrees with you, right? She says she thinks that Black Widow's still alive also. So definitely a possibility for sure. All right, let me go ahead and pull up some of these questions. Since we didn't have APlus Hero Report last week, I'll even throw in some of these questions too from AJ. So let's just go around, just answer them as briefly as you can, and then we'll move on to the next question. Why do you guys think Wonder Girl series was canceled and not being picked up? Is it because we already had a Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and don't need to stir fans away, or perhaps they want to bring Wonder Woman on screen in their Arrowverse? There's no confusion. Why do you guys think Wonder Girl was canceled?
Playing with our heartstrings.
Because Wonder Girl already died in Titans.
Oh, they're like, too many Wonder Girls at one time?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it has less to do with the DC decision, more to do with the CW decision, because they're getting shows pitched to them all the time. And, when you're in charge of so many things and you have to decide what to renew, what to cancel, and then what to bring on the air, it's a hard thing to balance. So I think it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, we're already picking up Painkiller and Naomi. Maybe a third DC show to show up in the same year would actually be a little bit too much, especially when we have all the other ones going on. So I think it just had to be they decided not to go for it now. But I do think it is a possibility. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible we could still get it in the future.
And to Stuart's point, it may be because they already have Stargirl, which is a similar property. They don't want to have something that could be mistaken for Stargirl to be out there.
True. I'm definitely ready for a Brazilian Wonder Woman, though, at some particular point in time. And we do know that Wonder Girl Yara Flor is actually a relatively new character when it comes to the DC Comics. So maybe they also want to give her some time to shine comic book wise, garner a little bit of a following, and then wind up hitting us with it. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility of it not popping back up. I'm really going to keep my fingers crossed. But maybe they also thought to themselves, you know what? We tried to do a Wonder Woman pilot a few years ago, and it wasn't very successful. So maybe it's maybe it's a little makes them a little bit hesitant kind of going forward. So we'll see that. Hopefully we'll have some development. Yeah, right. Let's see here.
Give me a Sam Raimi produced Wonder Woman TV series with the style of Xena.
Yes, which a lot of us thought was Wonder Woman growing up. Continue.
Let's see. Another question. He says, "What's the latest news on Wallace Day taking over as an altered Kate Kane? Do you think she's only going to be on the show just to help wrap Kate Kane's storyline and have her stick around and finally reunite her, Commander and Mary? Would you like Kate passes the torch to Ryan officially? What do you guys think in regards to that?"
Can I do a tiny bit of a rant real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay, my biggest issue with this is that already they're giving more screen time to Alice than they are to Ryan Wilder. And so I was kind of hoping that once they finally wrapped up the Kate Kane side plot, that this meant that, okay, can we finally actually develop Ryan Wilder's character now? Can we finally give her some screen time? Because that'd be really nice. No, then they're like, oh, not only are we continuing with the Alice stuff, but now Kate's alive too. So now we're going to have two Batwoman. And it's like, I don't know. It worries me because they already don't give her enough screen time. So now with like Kate coming back, what's that going to mean for her? What I'm hoping is that maybe one of them goes to Legends of Tomorrow. Like maybe we get Ryan as the new Batwoman on the show and Kate Kane goes to Legends. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I think the reason why you're seeing the screen time split is because the time that they're using with Jalicia's character is structured time to build her character up. The way they're using her is smartly in order with most of her stuff has to do with her building with the team. The reason I think you're seeing more Alice is because I don't think you see Alice after this season. And most of the reason why people are tuning in, to be honest, is because of Alice's character and the storyline that's going on with her. I really think that she will be the one leaving. It'll be her and Wallace Day leaving, with maybe Wallace Day coming back every once in a while, popping up as Kate Kane to do stuff. But I do think you get Commander Kane, because I believe he's going to end up giving his spot up, you know what I'm saying, as head of the Crows. I do think you get Kate leaving, and I do think you get Alice leaving. And I think they actually get their, you know what I'm saying, family dynamic to go do what they want to do. And at the end of the season, that's when you see Ryan Wilder actually stepped up into the role. Now, the way they're going about it is idiotic. But I understand what they're trying to do, but I do believe I give them credit where credit's due, because the pandemic did mess a lot of stuff up. Also, losing a starring character messes a lot of stuff up, but they're handling it the best way that they possibly can. And I don't knock them that for too much, but the past couple of episodes have picked up. And the development of Alice's character and coming back from where she was is actually been pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's very hard to come back from stuff like that when you change the roster, you change, the drive behind certain things in a series. Watching Falcon and Winter Soldier, for example, I love it. However, I feel like Falcon's not getting enough screen time. I feel like Baron Zemo's introduction is sucking up Sam's buildup, and we're going from Zemo to Bucky, and then maybe Sam. And I'm like, I didn't come here to watch the Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Zemo. I came here to watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier, period. And I feel like, in that series, you have a dynamic problem. You have too many cooks in the kitchen, too many things going on, and you're trying to present this story as a buddy cop movie, but we're not seeing both buddies at the same time. We're seeing, I just feel like it's starting to kind of teeter a little bit, And then as far as with Batwoman, I saw season 1. That was all right. I saw the hype for season 2, and it's disappointing that Ryan's not getting, the presentation that the CW thinks she has, because the CW doesn't advertise really Alice. They advertise we have a new Batwoman, we're doing things differently, boom, boom. But then I'm not hearing the reflection from people who've been watching this season.
Well, most people that I read comments, they hate the show to start off with. They hate Ryan Wilder's character. They hate the fact that Batwoman got recast. You know what I'm saying? As a black woman, as a lesbian black woman. You know what I'm saying? Come to bat that they're hating this forward thinking. To me, the ease in is better than the direct. This is your Batwoman forever now.
Right.
Like the ease in, the way they're handling it to me is better because it's letting the haters die down. And the haters are actually being able to attach themselves to the character that they loved in Alice. But what you don't know is that's going to be snatched from you, and you have to deal with what you got to deal with anyway. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier thing, man, I don't know. I came for Zemo. That's what I came for. But I think the issue with some stuff is just like with Falcon is that character's straightforward, right? You learn a little bit more about him, but it's the other character like Bucky. It's the other characters that we don't know much about that we need to learn more about. So I understand kind of like what they're doing there. The 6 episode rollout of that is idiotic because you could tell a so much better story with more time. But with Batwoman, it's the same way. They're going to slow roll Ryan Wilder out to us. We learn a little bit more about her every episode. She gets a little bit more screen time every episode, but her bread and butter is going to be relationship with her 2 other teammates on Team Batwoman. And that's what they need to work on building. And I think that's why the dynamic with them is you're always going to see them 3 on the screen each other. And let's wrap up everything else that we're taking off. And that's why I feel like you're seeing so much of everybody else is because they're not going to be there.
All right, let's next question here we got from Jessica Fryman. Would you like to see a Martian Manhunter get his own show once Supergirl ends? I'm okay with that one. If anything, I'm cool with the idea of maybe David Harewood popping back up in something else as Martian Manhunter. I don't necessarily know if I need a spin-off show from him though. What do you guys think?
Well, I just like the character forever, and so I want to see more of him.
Yeah, I liked what they did in the previous season where they definitely tried to tie John Jones back to his detective route. They gave him his own base and stuff, and he's picking up clues and trying to help people out. That would be a pretty cool premise for like a Martian Manhunter show. I think maybe last season I probably would have been open to it, but I think I've kind of steered away from it. But I do think the possibilities are certainly there. But I'd rather just see him pop up in other shows. But there's potential.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'd rather him just show up in other shows. But if he did get a spinoff, I just hope they don't, I would hope they do something new with it, like make it a noir style detective show with him as the main character. That would be awesome.
I was going to say no until he said that. But no, I don't need a John Jones spinoff show. I need them not to cancel Black Lightning and just have him pop up in there. Like, don't cancel one show and then give me another one that could be the same exact show dealing with the same exact issues. Mm-hmm. But I think John Jones is a better served character as popping up to help people get through things. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And experiencing that through that, because I think him popping up in Black Lightning would have been amazing. Mm-hmm. Especially with everything that's going on there, him being able to relate to, Green Martians being, held down, the war and everything. I think that would have been perfect for them to be able to relate to what they went through. Huge missed opportunity. I was waiting on the Black Justice League to pop up. I wanted Diggle. I wanted John Jones. I wanted Black Lightning. Just pop up and get it done. But to digress. We're not going to get it.
Well, I will say I'll be more excited to see an expansion on Martian Manhunter than an entire series of Painkiller.
Speaking of which, with this is from AJ
Nice
or
segue.
Bacon, yeah, with Bacon and Sushi. He says, with Black Lightning on a short hiatus, do you think we'll be getting? Do you think we'll be getting when this? What do you think we'll be getting when the show comes back? The Painkiller pilot or the rest of Black Lightning? And when do you think the show will start wrapping up? I don't know what this question means, Bacon and Sushi, but. With Black Lightning on a short hiatus, what do you think we'll be getting when the show comes back? No, when it comes back, it's jumping right into the pilot of Painkiller, and then we're gonna get the rest of Black Lightning. Is what I'm expecting. Is that what you guys are expecting too?
I don't know what I'm expecting. The funny thing is, I'm kind of like with Reggie here. I'm not sold on a Painkiller solo show right now due to the fact that it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. Like I feel like we'll get the pilot and it'll be Green Arrow and the Canaries type thing where it won't get picked up. No matter how bad I want it to be picked up, it won't be picked up. And thank you, CW, because now you have ruined my dreams with everything. Because I'm not going to get Painkiller and I'm not going to get Green Arrow and the Canaries. I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm just gonna go rewatch WandaVision and say screw y'all.
Come on, we gotta put some positivity out in the world, man. Come on, we gotta.
I'm to the point right now. If I wasn't reviewing shows, I probably wouldn't be watching the CW until it all came out on Netflix. To be totally honest with you, and it's because they keep taking away the best of what we love, and they're not using characters properly. I feel sorry for Grant Gustin because I feel like they're just giving him nothing to work with. Mm-hmm. And they haven't killed Iris yet, so he has to deal with that.
Well, he didn't kill Felicity and Iris
because Felicity was awesome. Iris is not.
Okay, well, I'll leave that alone.
Felicity was useful.
Yeah. Speaking of the Flash,
that would not stop. Okay, continue.
Speaking of the Flash, didn't Cisco give up his powers during the end of season 5 to be with Camilla and live a normal life? But why is Cisco still on the battlefield with tech armor? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, that's like kind of a decision that the previous showrunner made, but clearly the Eric Wallace didn't want to go through with that. So it's just kind of like, okay, rather than just undoing what you already did with him losing his power, we're going to have him still be able to do the same exact abilities, but now he has a tech suit instead of it being a metahuman ability.
He's human and he has to protect Camilla since Camilla decides she wants to run into the battlefield to take pictures. What are you supposed to do? You gave up your powers too soon. Now you can't protect your girl, and you're running around with Fishman, and sooner or later Aquaman is just going to take her from you anyway. So
this was funny with them constantly referencing Atlantean tech, and the fact that Cisco spent some time in Atlantis. I am hoping that we get like an Aquaman name drop at some point.
Yeah, Arthur Curry name or something like that. That'd be pretty legit.
Aqua Lag. Give us Black Manta or something.
Yeah. Nice. All right, we got a couple questions from Doomsday here. We talked about this briefly at the top. The Space Jam legacy. What were your thoughts about it? Just briefly. I think we kind of already talked about that. Anybody else want to pitch in about their thoughts on the Space Jam trailer?
It was really good. I really enjoyed seeing LeBron animated, and I enjoyed seeing Bugs Bunny come into reality.
Yeah, a little bit more upgrade.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to make sure that it's entertaining. And so I don't have to worry about it being a train wreck.
Is this going to feel like the Lego movie where we just have a bunch of characters just all from all different types of universes?
It's going to feel like Ready Player One because Iron Giant's in there.
That's a good call.
I think it's only going to be like that towards the end of the film. I do think a majority of the film is going to take place in the Looney Tunes world. And even though like we see him trying to assemble a team with all these different characters from all sorts of Warner Media, I think it's going to turn out that the joke is going to be, oh yeah, you can't use any of these characters, only Looney Tunes characters. So I do think it is mainly going to be focused on the Looney Tunes side of things.
I don't know what to expect. I boycott most stuff that LeBron does. And I might be the only almost 40-year-old that hasn't even seen the original Space Jam. So
get on it, bro.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
Get on it, bro.
I will
Get on
say
it.
this though, as much as I love that movie, watching it now, it is kind of funny because Michael Jordan looks confused more than anything. With
Yes.
anytime the camera's like paced like in front of him, like you can tell, like it's all in front of a green screen, so he doesn't actually fully know what he's supposed to react to. But I mean, given that this was like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think his first like acting performance that he did, I think he did a good job for what he was given.
Yeah, I think LeBron will do a much better job here. I mean, just from the trailer alone, it looks like he's
the
competent enough.
gotten a lot better too.
I know some people are going to say, "Oh, I've seen LeBron acting a whole lot whenever he gets fouled," but that's another story.
No, I think when it comes to this, he has no choice but to do a good job. And I have seen LeBron in other movies just for the fact that I like other actors in other movies, and he just happened to pop up. He's not that bad, but I'm just not a LeBron. I'm not a. Let me see. I think I'm a LeBron the human fan, a LeBron the entertainer fan. I'm not a fan.
I can understand that. Let's see here. Doomsday's last question is how hard did you guys laugh when Professor Hulk did the dab and when Korg was playing Fortnite in Endgame, going back to some Avengers Endgame stuff? How did you guys feel about Professor Hulk and Korg?
Yeah, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite scenes.
The Korg scene didn't make sense. It just seemed out of place. Until the Xbox Game Pass commercial they just did with Falcon. that brought it all together and it made it funny for me. The whole doing the dab thing just seemed like them trying to force current trends into movies to make stuff pop. I'm like, we didn't need that.
No, we totally needed it. I needed to see Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk doing the dab and like what is it, Hulk out, like all his little phrases and things like that, and him trying to take pictures with the kids and stuff. I had me absolutely rolling in that movie, man. I loved it.
I mean, that was like one of those things you laugh at how awkward it is. It's supposed to be really cringy, but you kind of laugh at the cringe. As for the Fortnite thing, like, even though I know it was there for product placement and no other reason, I still thought the joke was pretty funny, especially with like, for cursing out the person on the phone. Yeah. And I love how that joke has gotten so many fan theories, like who's Noobster 69? Is it Deadpool? Was it Agatha all along?
Thor, he's back again. He's back. Noob Master's here. Yeah, I love that. That's a great moment. Let's see here. We got Adrian Perez. He's got 3 questions. What are some of your favorite action and comedy films of all time, and what impact have they gave you? I will do the comedy aspect of things here because me and the girlfriend actually just talked about that the other day. As far as action and comedy movies, I feel like I've got a top 5. We were just kind of going through some of them. For me, Forgetting Sarah Marshall is up there. I Love You Man is up there. Wedding Crashers, Anchorman, and there was a 5th one. I've lost it right now off the top of my head, but those were some of my favorites for sure in regards to comedies. And Superbad. Superbad was another one for me also that just hit me a certain type of way that I absolutely loved. I mean, but yeah, those are some of my favorites. I do love me some Paul Rudd for sure. Will Ferrell. I mean, yeah, give it to me.
The greatest or my personal favorite comedy that actually has some amazing action scenes in it, The World's End. Not to be confused with This Is the End, because they came out the same year and everyone gets confused which is which. I'm talking about The World's End, the one with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost going from one pub to another. Not only is it one of the funniest films I've ever seen, like it's my 2nd favorite comedy of all time, it also has some amazing action. So if you're looking for action and comedy together, that's my big recommendation there.
Nice.
Does this have to be in order, or we just?
Oh no, I'm just some action movies or comedies that jump out to you. You don't have to give a list. I was just referring to some of the things I was thinking of the other day.
Demolition Man.
Oh, okay.
Like one of my all-time favorite movies of like all time, because that's it. The original Ghostbusters. This is bad. This is like on the original Ghostbusters, not the remake. We don't do the remake. Jingle All the Way.
Nice.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And off the top of my head, it's 2, and I gotta choose one. So I'm going to go, because I feel like the story was a little bit better, Hancock. But I always toss up Hancock and iRobot.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I do like
fan, I
Hancock.
guess.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like my all-time favorite action comedy is Rush Hour.
Okay.
And but in general, my favorite movie is probably The Dark Knight. And then Star Wars, now they call it New Hope. It used to be Star Wars when I was little. Star Wars, New Hope. And I really like anything from like Sidney Poitier or Judy Garland. Like any movie she's in, I'm a fan of. So I like Wizard of Oz. And then pretty much if it's well done, like good acting, good direction, good production, I'm a fan of it. And you guys probably already seen all the movies because Indy just named several movies I watch over and over again. Jingle All the Way is like one of the best Christmas movies ever. And then It's a Wonderful Life, another movie that I watch every year.
Yeah.
So I like a strong script. The script and the direction, if those are good, usually, you know, I'm a fan of it.
Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't get enough credit for some of the scripts that he picked, because he's in some movies where he may not have acted well, but the script was like amazing.
I mean, True Lies for me is like.
Adam, yeah. you just kept look. That's exactly what I was going to say. True Lies deserves a lot more attention than it has gotten.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there.
Last Action Hero.
Yeah,
yes, that was a good movie, and introduced us to a certain person from Game of Thrones.
Right.
Who was in that? It's been years since I've watched the movie. I used to watch it as a kid. Who's in it?
I haven't even seen the movie in years, and I can identify his face. He's pretty easily in my head.
I love how nobody's telling me who we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm still shocked. Like that really blew.
It's a certain Lannister. A certain Lannister is in it.
You know this.
Let me pull this up. Hold on a second.
Don't pull it up.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
I'll give you a hint. He was in Godzilla 2.
Oh, he's in this? Charles Dance? Damn. Was he the main villain?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. I don't even. That's crazy.
Action hero.
It's been Jesus. It's been such a long time. I just don't associate him anymore with Last Action Hero. I just immediately associate him with Game of Thrones now. That's crazy. Yeah, I'll go back and revisit it now because now that I know that he's in it, yeah, definitely. Let's see here. What else? We got another couple questions. What do you think of the Transformers movies? And why do you think all of them except the first film and Bumblebee did so bad? Was it Michael Bay's creative control? What do you guys think?
Okay, I do have to make an annoying correction that I hate having to make, but it is sadly accurate. All of them do really well, unfortunately.
They do.
And in terms of numbers, like in terms of like reviews and critical scores, obviously they're terrible.
She's probably tired.
But when it comes to like financially, they've all done really well. And unfortunately, it all comes down to the fact that Michael Bay has full creative control over all of these movies, and he doesn't really feel the need to challenge himself when it comes to like coming up with a solid script. He just goes, let's have some awesome explosion and some PG-13 sexuality, and that's all we really need.
Yeah, and let's have the robots do some really awkward, offensive things while we're at it. And let's also take the lore of the story and run it through with a knife.
Yeah. And let's not even have consistent writing because, like, I swear the lore within their own universe changes every single movie. Every movie contradicts the previous film. Yeah.
Bumblebee was well done and well received.
Yeah, I will say, for me, my top three definitely are the first Transformers. Bumblebee's up there, and actually, I was a really big fan of Dark of the Moon, the third one in the trilogy, the big battle at Chicago. I don't think that movie gets enough attention. The action for me just kind of blew me away, but I honestly thought that Shia and the rest of the cast actually did a pretty good job in regards to it. That felt very much more balls to the walls action, just kind of going all out. And that's what I expect to wrap up a Transformers trilogy. And I thought they did a great job in regards to it. So those are really the only two out of the Michael Bay era that really stuck with me. The other stuff is super forgetful and offensive. You know, like I just rather not go down that that rabbit hole, like The Last Night or whatever that was called. I didn't even bother to watch it because it was horrible. It just looked atrocious as it was. But I was really thankful with Travis Knight and Bumblebee. I thought they did an amazing job, and I'm eager for the franchise to see where they go now that Michael Bay isn't so attached to everything.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note that Anthony Ramos from Hamilton, he's going to be starring the next Transformers, so I think it's going to be good.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Let's see here. Why do a lot of people hate Batwoman and always want it to be canceled, Indy? Especially the actress of Ruby Rose and now Javicia Leslie. What do you think?
Because people had nothing better to do.
I love it.
That's I know what it is.
Well, if I were to highlight, I would say a lot of us Bat fans are, fatigued with the constant let's not show Batman in TV show situation. The Bat embargo, which was a thing, which I think is outdated because we do get Superman a lot, especially with Superman and Lois. I want to see Batman on a television show, and it doesn't have to look like Adam West. I don't understand that part. But presenting Batman on TV is something that we all want to see. And when we see yet another character presented as the Batman character, and it's not Bruce Wayne, it bothers a lot of people because we just want to see that. Now, I'm not taking away from the show itself. The show itself can do what it wants to do, but as far as in general with the Bat fans, we would like to see more Batman whenever we can. So, right now in Falcon Winter Soldier, we're not seeing Steve Rogers, but we know Steve Rogers is a part of the universe. With Batwoman, with Gotham, we know Batman's in the universe, but we don't actually get to see Batman on screen. We may see Bruce Wayne, we may see his parents, may see Pennyworth, and watch that on Stars. But we want to see Bruce Wayne one day, and we're just constantly seeing the universe. Oh, new Batman show. It's not going to have Batman in it. Oh, great. And that's the frustration, I think. I think there's also situations where people have their own prejudice and pre-thinking about Batwoman, but I think in the majority is because we want to see Batman.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you in that aspect. What about you guys? Any outside of other opinions?
The ones that I just find so bizarre, though, is because, I'm not trying to claim that Batwoman's a great show or anything, but at the same time, it's definitely not the worst written superhero show when it comes to kind of the grand scheme of superhero shows that are out there. I'd say it's still better than Legends of Tomorrow Season 4, and it's definitely better. I mean, I think anything's better than Arrow Season 4. And, I'd say it's about on par with Titan. So I find it so bizarre how many channels there are out there that don't really talk about superhero shows in general, but they love talking about how much they hate Batwoman. Those are the channels where I'm like, okay, I think you got some certain prejudice that you're just not willing to admit to. But, I do think that there's other channels that do review plenty of other DC properties on the Arrowverse. And, when I get negative critiques from those channels, it's like I know that they're giving it a negative review because they don't like the show and not because they're being assholes about it. It's
and actually watch the show. I'm sure some of those people,
show, they know what to expect from the CW DC shows, essentially.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. We do have a comment from Marcelino. He says, in my opinion, in the DCEU and Arrowverse should not exist simultaneously. It creates DC fatigue. One should exist over the other. Well, I appreciate your comment and your opinion there, Marcelino. What do you guys think in regards to his opinion on that? Do you think it creates some DC fatigue, or do you think it's in a pretty good place as far as what they've established?
Well, I think if you have a lot of presentation of the same character constantly being promoted, you run into fatigue. For example, let's use Dr. Fate. If Dr. Fate is on Stargirl, he's going to be on Black Adam. He's on this and that, and the story for each one is totally different. I think it's hard for people to follow that with a full heart. I think they see him too often, too much. Not to say you can't tell multiple stories, but I think when you're, let's say, promoting like the Godzilla movie, you're promoting Dr. Fate's coming out on Black Adam, Dr. Fate's coming out on Stargirl, and you're just constantly promoting Dr. Fate, and you just seen them everywhere. You're going to wonder, do I watch the TV show or do I watch the movie? But you know, if you present it where like Marvel do it, Marvel has it where they have like a prime character. They'll say, "This is the movie. This is you want to see the movie of with Black Panther." That well, there's a TV show that's fine, but this is where we want your focus to be, the movie. Marvel does that pretty good. DC seems to just throw everybody out. And everyone's just like, okay, Rob isn't here. The Titans have their show here, but they have Teen Titans Go, and then I missed the old Teen Titans show. Is that related to the new Titans? And I'm talking about the average viewer, not so much us, but the average viewer. They're thinking that way.
I think what's creating fatigue with the Arrowverse, and I don't think it's creating fatigue with DC in general, just the Arrowverse itself. I think the problem is the 22 episodes a season and with them going on multiple seasons, because then you start to get a lot of I'm trying to think of a word to use. It repeats itself a lot. So the same exact arc that because I love Arrow, but Oliver has gone through the same arc. I think like 2 or 3 times of. He learns how to trust people more often, to be more honest with people. He learns that killing is wrong. And then like a few seasons later, he
struggles with it all over again.
Yeah. And I'm not saying relapsing isn't a thing. Of course, I do expect characters to rise and fall again. But because of it going on for 22 episodes and it having 8 seasons, with only the last season being 10 episodes, it happens so much that eventually people just fall out of it and they just don't really care. And then you get those same, not with that specific arc, specifically in the Flash, but you get similar beats being repeated in the Flash. So I think like the big step that the CW Arrowverse should make is less episodes a season. Then they don't have to worry about that as much.
I could definitely kind of get behind that idea. Like, I don't find it so much as a fatigue on the movie industry, the movies aspect of things, but maybe television wise, a little bit of fatigue when it comes to CW. Like, shortening of the seasons, I think would be great. I think Black Lightning benefits from that really, really well. I think maybe the addition of some of these HBO Max series that we're going to be getting also might kind of open things up. So yeah, I don't necessarily know if the Arrowverse and DC being on at the same time causes fatigue so much as maybe the length of the Arrowverse and how long it's been going on now, that might be causing some sort of levels of fatigue. But I think you could still do them and pull them off successfully as long as you're at least explaining it to the general public and the general audience, the idea of, that this is a multiverse, that's, it's okay that we utilize these characters in different types of mediums. But I don't know. What do you think, Indy?
I think fatigue sets in a lot of times for people who weren't interested in the medium to start off with, who are just trying to catch on to a trend that of entertainment. It happens with everything. People who weren't Game of Thrones fans that couldn't, sit through all the seasons of Game of Thrones. You see that happen with Walking Dead. It happens with everything. Grey's Anatomy. People start falling off, talking about they're getting fatigued from it. Even This Is Us, as short as that show's been on right now, people starting getting fatigued from it. It's for me, it's not fatigue. For me, I want as many versions of different stories and characters as many different mediums as possible. It's when you get into the same thing happening in every medium that's the problem. It's watching Uncle Ben die every time they set something up. It is watching Batman have to be in an alley with his parents. You know what I'm saying? Like that is where the fatigue kicks in. But if you're steadily pushing the medium forward or pushing the story forward, you don't have that issue.
Yeah, if you give us new
Beyond movie yet.
New fresh content, new storylines. How do you attack certain things differently for these characters compared to how they were utilized the past several times? Yeah, definitely have to bring some excitement to it.
Adam, before you go to the next topic, wouldn't it be funny if Joe Chill killed Uncle Ben?
Oh Jesus. Here we got a couple questions from I'm a Handsome Dude. Favorite X-Men films, and do you wish the original cast came back for one last hurrah? No, I was okay with the last hurrah being in Days of Future Past. I didn't really need them to come back after that. But as far as favorite X-Men films, X-Men 2 is definitely up there. I was a big fan of First Class. Days of Future Past is up there for me also in regards to it. So those are my top 3 X-Men movies for sure.
I don't have one. They're all trash.
I love Logan and Days of Future Past. Obviously, the first 2 X-Men are really good, but they definitely do kind of show their age in a few areas. But they're still really entertaining, and I highly recommend checking them out. But Days of Future Past and Logan are my 2 favorite X-Men movies. I love them.
Well, obviously it's gonna be Dark Phoenix, right? No. No, my favorite X-Men movies are X2 and First Class. I pretend the rest of them didn't happen.
No, you know, he did say you don't got a favorite X-Men movie.
Does Deadpool count?
No, I don't consider Deadpool as one because I consider Deadpool X-Force.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. What successful show or movie you've seen in years would you like to see revived or put on a streaming service like Netflix? I feel like one of them that they're already doing that I'm excited for is Lord of the Rings. I am kind of curious to see how they tap that into an actual series on something like for Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. That's probably one of the more successful shows or movies that I'm eager to kind of see. But as far as to be revived or put on streaming, I don't know.
I'm going to say this because, you know, it was rumored a while ago to be coming on the CW, but now I don't think it's happening because I haven't heard anything about it since then. I want Buffy the Vampire Slayer back, or Angel, or both. I want, because they've been talking about it for so long. It's like, come on, bring this show back. I don't care if it's a reboot or like if it continues the story of the original series. I just want them back. I want that universe coming back.
That'd be a great selection, I think, personally. Let's see.
I want to add that I wanted a Faith show, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
That was rumored for a while, but I guess they just gave up on it for some reason.
Let's see here. Also, what were some of your favorite cartoons growing up? What type of impact did they have on you?
I can tell you right now, my number one childhood show, animation wise, Dragon Ball Z all the way.
Mine was Ninja Turtles, and after that, the Smurfs and Transformers. It's kind of funny how I kind of dissed in the Smurfs. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely grew up on I grew up on a lot of old 80s stuff. He-Man was my first and foremost.
I have the power.
Yeah, He-Man was always first and foremost. Loved Thundercats back in the day. The original Ghostbusters cartoon. Love that type of stuff. I mean, X-Men, Spider-Man. I don't know. I felt growing up in the 80s and 90s, man. We just had a great childhood. If you missed out on those, I'm sorry.
Adam, I want to bring out, it would have been neat to, Homecoming is great, but I would love to see Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends as a movie.
Mm-hmm. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Thing about me is, I got what I'll call the scraps of the 80s and 90s because, I grew up mid 90s, early 2000s. That was my generation of cartoons. So I would see reruns of like some of the older shows. Like they did play like reruns of the original Transformers every once in a while on Cartoon Network. But yeah, for me, it was like my favorite era, though, when it came to just television shows for kids was the Fox Kids era.
Yeah.
You had the Batman animated series going on. You had the Spider-Man, I think it was just called Spider-Man, if I'm not mistaken. The X-Men cartoon, which was freaking fantastic. And, of course, Digimon and Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And they eventually had, like, gargoyles and stuff on there. I mean, the lineup...
That was Disney. That was Disney.
The line... the lineup was crazy back in the day. It always felt like there was a banger one after the other. I mean, you would have a block of like 2 to 3 hours of just amazing cartoons growing up as a kid. And I will even talk a little bit about Dragon Ball Z that you brought up, Stuart, too, because as I got older, I definitely was introduced to it. I think for me, it was back in high school when I wind up discovering Dragon Ball Z. But I just recall growing up, just to age myself, it wasn't easy to get access to Japanese, versions of it with English subtitles. Me and my friends would literally take a bus out to Chinatown. I remember going out there once with them and actually picking up a couple of old VHS of Dragon Ball sagas, just like 3 or 4 VHS tapes. And you just pop them in, just terrible quality, but you're able to watch it, but it'd be in Japanese with English subtitles. And I always loved the English subtitles because they just didn't hold back. I mean, they would always tell you the story accurately, curse words, everything. I always that's how I grew up on Dragon Ball Z, was borrowing some of my friends' old VHS tapes and purchasing some myself.
I would just be watching Toonami.
That was how
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
But in terms of the VHS thing, really fun childhood memory I have to bring up is that back when Dragon Ball GT first came out, like I know we as Dragon Ball fans are supposed to pretend that show never existed, but
it does exist.
I was young when that show came out, and I actually kind of liked it the first time I saw it. Obviously, it does not hold up, but when it first came out, my brother and I can't remember if it was weekly or monthly. They would release like the VHS of it like every week or month at Walmart, and we would be there every time to pick up the next one every time it got released. So slowly, as they would release one VHS after another, we would slowly, because I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but on Dragon Ball Z, they would on the side of the VHSs have like an image that you would, when you started stacking more and more VHSs next to each other, the image would get bigger and bigger. So it was just that really fun thing that we did where, we would keep getting more and the image would become more and more clear episode after episode after episode. That was just one of the most fun things, was collecting GT as it was coming out.
Get out of here.
He's yelling at kids. What are some of your favorite cartoons? Indy, what'd you grow up on?
I grew up on Tailspin, DuckTales, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Disney Afternoon.
Yeah,
the good old Darkwing Duck.
That's what I grew up on.
Nice, bro.
Trouble just called DW. I actually met the voice actor for Launchpad McQuack.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then our last set of questions. This is from Marcelino Vasquez. What were your guys' thoughts on the Birds of Prey movie? Do you agree that it's an anti-man movie that a lot of people have claimed it is? Personally, I liked it. I never saw it as that, if you will. But what are your guys' thoughts on Birds of Prey?
I mean, oops, sorry, I'm not sure if you heard. I mean, I'd say it's a movie.
Somebody coming through the Wave Rider.
Something like that. I'd say it's a movie where there's so many criminals, and I don't really think anyone in the movie is a good person. So it's really hard to say. It's less anti-man and more anti-people, if that makes sense.
I didn't feel it was anti-man. I just felt like it was anti-good script, and I didn't. I'm sorry. Look. As a fan of Birds of Prey, I sat through the CW series, which I hated, and then the movie came out years later, and I'm like, and it's going to be better. And it wasn't much better because they focused on Harley Quinn, who is not a member of Birds of Prey, but that's the whole damn story. I wanted more to do with more characters than what they showed, and it was hard to watch. I watched it, and I haven't watched it again because I'm also a big Cassandra Cain fan, and they totally gut punched that.
Yeah, that movie just didn't do you any justice at all as a Birds of Prey fan.
I'll give you that. I think the movie should have been titled Harley Quinn.
Yes,
it should have had the title Birds of Prey in there. Even though I really liked the movie overall, I thought it was a fun film. I do not like what they did with Cassandra Cain's character. I just don't think they should have called her Cassandra Cain. I thought she was fine for what she was, and I thought the actress that played her did a really great job. She just wasn't Cassandra Cain at all. So that was kind of my biggest gripe.
You know, the actress who played her older brother played Zuko in Avatar.
Yeah, I think it was her older cousin, but yeah.
Okay, older cousin. Okay.
Bosco, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the film for what it was. I mean, it definitely didn't feel like a Birds of Prey movie to me. I definitely would have liked to have seen the other characters focused a little bit. I would agree with you guys there in the sense that this was very much more of a Harley Quinn movie. I think if it had been promoted as such, maybe it would have been done a little bit better. I just think Birds of Prey probably could have been its own thing if done completely differently. But
Huntress got screwed over too. Huntress, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. So for me, I didn't mind it. I thought it was fun. I definitely enjoyed Margot Robbie and a lot of the characters that were certainly in here. It just wasn't overwhelmingly great to me, but it was a movie that I could sit down with some popcorn and certainly enjoy. I mean, I've probably only watched it maybe 2 or 3 times, but I love me some Ewan McGregor, man. I think him as Black Mask was great in here also. He definitely did help carry the movie for me also. But even as a Journey Smollett as Black Canary, I would like to see more of these characters, maybe just separate from Harley Quinn, but and just bring on maybe a new writer or whatever the case may be. But I would be open to see these characters again.
I would love to see Journey Smollett in a solo movie with Black Canary. I think she could actually do it.
And I love Rosie Perez too. I liked her as Renee Montoya. Like
but I didn't feel like there was enough weight on her character.
Oh yeah, no, I just mean like if they were to do a sequel or a spinoff or whatever the case may be, I think Renee Montoya, Rosie Perez, I think would be a good fit as far as like the one person without the ability but still connected to the Gotham Police Department. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. And also, I really did enjoy Margot's fight scenes. Those were really fun to watch. I still watch them from time to time, like when she has all the water coming down and everything. I just thought she just did her. She does Harley Quinn as well as Christopher Reeve did Superman. I mean, she completely embodies the character perfectly. But I just think DC uses her character in ways that I don't want.
I get it.
I'll say this too, though. When it came to the Birds of Prey themselves, like I love their characters, and I do think that a spinoff with them, like whether it be a solo film or a HBO Max series, would be really amazing to see, and I'd love to see them get explored more. Maybe even actually bring in Oracle within the group as well.
Oh yeah, that would be a nice touch. He also says he's got a couple of recommendations for us to watch. Some YouTubers, Troy Boyo 17, Hunter Killer 1440, Phoenix Studios, Nando versus Movies, and Fix the Flick on YouTube. They all make movies about fixing bad movies and TV shows. Have you guys heard any of those names before?
No, but now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, check them out for sure. And then the last question here: sometimes when something gets adapted or rebooted, I want to exit away from the source material and be its own thing. The Boys TV show has already done that. And also, I didn't like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, but I was still interested in seeing how different it would be from other Lex Luthors. How come people aren't so open-minded to new change and not be similar to the source material? I think if people have just really emotional connections to a lot of these characters that they've kind of grown up and love when it comes to the comic book. So they tend to just have like this one mindset as to how they remembered it, how it always affected them, those particular characters. So, people tend to hold that stuff really close to the chest. You're kind of messing around with some of their particular favorite characters. So the idea of change is always difficult for somebody, especially if you're taking your own liberties and changing them up a bit. I always just try and tell people to be open-minded to see what the script is going to reveal. They may not necessarily be a character that we are big fans of, but I always try and see how much did they actually impact the movie itself. Like Jesse Eisenberg is a great example. I'm not a fan of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor at all, but when I watch Batman versus Superman, there's probably maybe 2 scenes of him that I was really big fan of, but the rest of it I can honestly just do without. No, the scene that really gets me all the time is his confrontation with Superman. Like I'm always amazed as to how he gets somebody like the Man of Steel to literally bow before him and do what he needs to do. Like this kid who's just this effing twig that's just the most annoying little shit in the world, and yet he's able to have the Man of Steel just bow before him and do his bidding. I think there's something really powerful about that, just to show just the mindset that Lex Luthor and the plan that he's kind of had throughout the entire movie. But while I like the premise, I hate the way that he's performed, and it just really ruins it for me at times.
They were writing him as if he was the Riddler, and they casted him as if he was the Riddler, and then they had the Lex Luthor lines, and it just went with it, and that was the problem.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I get it when people are upset. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean? It's just
I think Cosmount Variety Hour puts it the best. I'm okay with changes, to the comic book, but the story has to justify it. And I feel like with the case of The Boys, Amazon show, it justifies it. It's I'd say The Boys TV show
is it better?
Superior to the comic book in a lot of ways. The comic is kind of edgy for the sake of being edgy, whereas the Amazon show, I think, always has a point to the edginess of it. So I think it's actually better. But when it came to Jesse Eisenberg, I don't think any of the changes that they made from the version of Lex that we're so used to in the comic books were really justified in any of the decisions made within the movie itself. And I think the biggest thing is with
Grandma Sweet Tea.
Huh?
Grandma Sweet Tea.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, though, with the exception of the scene that you brought up, Adam, because I will admit that was actually one cool moment that I liked from him. But with the exception of that scene, he doesn't do a single smart thing on screen, and yet we're supposed to believe that this guy had this whole plan in order to get Batman and Superman to fight each other. And yet there's no on-screen moments where we see, oh yeah, I can see how a guy like this came up with all of that.
Yeah, no, I definitely get you there for sure, man. I definitely get you there. Let's see here. So I think that'll actually wrap it up for the live viewer questions, but there are just two more I want to tackle here, just the comments, both from Adrian Perez. Zach's the Snyder Cut worth watching, and the first 2 hours the exact same as the original 2017 Justice League. Well, I will say this, not exactly the same. I mean, it definitely, if anything, I would say it adds a ton more to that original Justice League movie, and it does take some narratives in a different direction. Like a lot of the Diana and Bruce stuff that we got in the Whedon version is just not there. It's handled all significantly different in the Justice League cut. But I won't say it's exactly the same thing, because the Steppenwolf fight takes place an hour into the Whedon cut. This time it takes place 2 hours into the actual league cut. So that just shows you how much is actually added into it just to build up to that very first battle between Steppenwolf and the league there also. So for me, I do find it very much worth watching. I've watched it like 2.5, maybe 3 times already, just because I enjoy the lore, the depth that it adds, the great character work, and it gives me chills by the time when we get to see the Flash sort of save the day. I like the ending is just so much more epic than what we wind up getting, I felt like, in the Whedon's version also. So there's a lot more stuff that's added. Does the movie have to be 4 hours long? No, I think had it been a theatrical release, it probably would have been cut down to about 3 hours, maybe 3 hours and 15 minutes or so. But from a director's cut point of view, man, I ate up all 4 hours for sure. So I do find it very much worth watching. I think the epicness is there that you don't get in the Justice League movie alone, but maybe that's just me.
So Adam, question, do you think this movie is simply the actual Snyder cut that, hey, I already put this down, let me just fill it in? Or do you think this is just like, oh, let's see how bad the movie was, and let's see your Snyder cut. Ooh, let's add some extra stuff here, how we should do it as opposed to how it could have been?
No, this was all Zack Snyder's vision. From everything that I could recall, this was all Zack Snyder's vision. The idea, this is what he filmed before he wound up having to actually depart the movie. So they didn't even do reshoots for him at that particular point in time. So this is his 4 hour cut that he wound up getting. And then when they did decide to go ahead and give him I think they said $70 million. Then he went ahead and did, I don't want to say reshoots, but he did sort of additional footage that he wound up adding to the movie itself. But this is all very much Snyder's vision.
Yeah, the big difference, like with the Ayer cut and the Snyder cut, just to correct a few misconceptions out there, is that with the Ayer cut, a lot of the concepts that he wanted to do with his version of the Suicide Squad never actually got filmed. So it would cost a lot more to do like the quote unquote Ayer version of that film. But with Snyder, a lot of it was already filmed. The only scenes that weren't filmed were the apocalypse scene, the scene with Batman and John Jones, and then maybe a couple of pickup shots that they had added, but I don't think so. So for the most part, the Ayer cut, the reason that, you know, Warner Brothers isn't putting money behind that is because it would be too expensive if they actually wanted to do it. All they could really do is add some of the shots that were taken out of the movie, which I don't think would make a big difference.
So do you guys think that doing things this way, like with the Sonic movie as well, where the fans have such input on the final product, it can be dangerous in the sense that we never get the real story?
It could depend, honestly. I feel like because this was, if we're going back to before the Snyder cut, if we're going back to, you know, with the Joss Whedon cut, that was way less about what was going on behind the scenes with Zack Snyder's family issues and way more to do with, you know, the fans' negative reaction towards the previous movies. And then that was Warner Brothers making a really bad, like, sharp turn and trying to go with a whole new thing, like saying, hey, Joss Whedon, we need you to make this look more like Avengers because that made money. And then it just made Justice League a complete mess. But with Sonic, I actually do think that was one of those cases where them reacting the way they did was actually for the better, you know, especially because it's not like they completely changed the story. They didn't change the direction of where it was going. They just made it more visually appealing for people to look at.
And I mean, I do find it dangerous from time to time, but you're right, Stuart. There are examples where it can benefit a movie. It just depends on like what you're attacking. You know, like if people are going to be loud and negative based off of storyline purposes, but they don't even know where the story is certainly headed, it could lead to things like Warner Brothers making vast changes to where we missed out on an epic Justice League movie that we probably should have gotten and would have been much more well received, probably than the Josh Whedon version that we wind up getting. So in that regards, I think when it comes to storyline ideas and things like that, you know, fans being vocal, I almost wonder if the idea of Sonic being successful and also them listening to the fans to change it, I do wonder if that now has given fans more of the power, if they feel like, hey, we created change with the Sonic movie, so let's take our endeavors and to other things also, you know what I mean? And in that regards, while Sonic, it paid off well, I do think that in the future for other movies, it certainly can be to the downside. You know, like for me, I almost think studios shouldn't even be on Twitter or social media. Like if you've got a creative idea, do your movie. There's nothing wrong with listening to fans, but the idea of changing your direction because social media is loud, that's dangerous, I think, to me at least.
If I recall, I'm not sure. I don't remember the details, but I think it was Shailene Woodley from Divergent when she was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Fans didn't like her as Mary Jane, and they took her out. I don't remember if that's the exact reason why she was taken out, but she was supposed to be in Spider-Man 2.
I think, I don't know for sure, but my theory is that Sony was expecting Amazing Spider-Man 2 to do Avengers numbers, and they were expecting it to be what would essentially, they were expecting the profit to essentially be the budget for their upcoming projects that they wanted to get going, including Sinister Six, Venom, and then several others that they ended up scrapping later on. So what I think happened is they cut a lot from Amazing Spider-Man 2, including Mary Jane and including the side plot of Oscorp for some reason spying on Peter Parker in order to make room for them to set up all those other projects that they had going on. But then, of course, Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do bad, But again, they were expecting Avengers. They were expecting an unrealistic profit from it. And that's what canceled everything going forward. So I don't think negative feedback for her performance in Divergent had anything to do with it. I think it was just because they wanted to set up different things.
And then he also asked, what is Snyder Cut's gray? It's literally the same movie, just in black and white, before they added the color and things like that to it. But all right, guys, I think other than that, I think that's probably going to go ahead and wrap it up for us today here for our live viewer questions, guys. Going long, a little bit long today, but that's what happens when you have an additional person on the screen with you guys and getting extra opinions this week. But thank you very much, Reggie, for definitely joining us, man. We really appreciate hearing your thoughts and having you participate this week. And hopefully, man, we'll get you more on here a little bit throughout the future, and maybe some live videos of yourself on our Facebook page, man. So people definitely want to hear your opinions, man. So definitely feel free to pop your face up on the Facebook page more often. We definitely would love to see it, bro. But if anybody wants to find you on social media, Reggie, what are some of your accounts? Where can people find you at, sir?
You can just look up R Sharper on Instagram, or just follow me on my either my personal Facebook, Reggie Sharper, or my actual Facebook fan page. I have one of those, Reggie Sharper. Just look that up. Just look me up on Facebook or Instagram.
Awesome, appreciate that, Reggie. I thought for a second you said you had an OnlyFans page, but I'm glad you clarified that.
No, I'm still working out for that one.
All right. Well, we'll let people know the address when that drops. Stuart, when if people want to find you on social media, Stuart, where can they find you at, sir?
You guys can follow me here at TurboStew01 on Twitter. And then, you guys can also follow me on Turbo Studios on YouTube, where I keep saying I have some upcoming projects, but then I never follow through on them. But I actually do have a really good upcoming project that we're about to be doing the table read for this month. And then hopefully we're going to start filming it in August. And I'm really excited because it's going to be a short found footage horror film that I think is going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully it makes people laugh in a good way, and it also gives people a few jump scares. So we'll see how that all turns out.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out for it. But guys, definitely go ahead and follow Stuart to go ahead and keep up with all his projects and his content as well. And of course, guys, if you want to go ahead and follow us on social media, you can do so right here at APlus Opinions, or up here at APlus Opinions. Very active over on Facebook as well as Twitter for you guys. You can also check us out over on Instagram as well as Twitch for you gamers as well. But other than that, guys, we'll definitely be back for you guys next weekend. Definitely look forward to that every Sunday live at noon Central Time. But other than that, if you want to follow us on our Facebook page, we'll definitely keep you posted on all the news that winds up dropping throughout the week, and of course have our discussion at the end of the week for you guys also. But until next time, guys, do us a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and until next time, keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.